and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, and you're listening to the Bob Culture Podcast with your host, Rob Crother.
Shock the system.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Bob Culture Podcast, special Extreme Rules edition. Right now, you're listening to Undisputed, of course, the cover of the Undisputed Era theme by my good friends in It Lives, It Breathes. You guys are awesome. Thank you for always letting me use your tunage. Guys, check them out on iTunes, Spotify, all that good stuff. You know, we love It Lives, It Breathes. Here we go. Get some cool music coming into it right now. And while the music's playing, you know, I gotta say, Adam Cole!
Baby!
Thank you, Nunez. That's why you're here. Thank you, brother.
I mean, I try.
All right, guys. I love it. I love it already. All right, guys, so we have a lot of big returns tonight on the Bob Culture Podcast. We had kind of a smaller panel early this week, and it grew, and everyone's involved. I'm so happy to be talking to you guys, hanging out with you guys here at home as well, just being surrounded by friends, ready to talk some wrestling. How you guys feeling? Ready to go?
Great.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Let's introduce...
Janela at a Blink-182 concert.
Wow. There it is.
Oh, my God.
There it is. All right, let's introduce the panel first. Of course, we have to roll out the red carpet and welcome back the queen of the podcasting realm herself. Ladies and gentlemen, bow down to her grace. Please welcome back from Brainbuster Radio and the Queen's Court Podcast, the one and only Miss Queen of Any. Queen, how are you? How's everything?
Oh, my gosh. Well, I just feel so wonderful after that introduction. Thank you so much for rolling out the red carpet for me and asking me back. I'm thrilled to be here.
We're not worthy.
Yeah, we're not worthy. That's
Some
right.
golf
Absolutely.
claps going on in the background. I noticed that.
Yes. There's some clapping going on in here already. You got a lot of fans already, I'll tell you that.
I'm your fans, too, so, you know.
Well, thank you so much. We're honored and great to be talking to you. Of course, we have to welcome back from the popbreak.com the editor-in-chief, the man, the myth, the legend, of course, with the Jameson sponsorship, the one and only Mr. Bill Bodkin. What's up, Bill? How are you?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. The sponsorship's flowing through the veins like Hulkamania, except it's whiskey, and it's not America.
Whiskey mania.
And I'm ready to go, man. Well, I'm here to talk about ECW. No, it's not ECW.
Whatever it is.
Remember, Extreme Rules was ECW One Night Stand.
Yeah, that's
True.
where it originated from, yep.
There you go. That's true. You can't go wrong.
And where is it emanating from?
I believe Mr. Paul Heyman said it was from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the most extreme place in the United States. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, totally.
Of course, man. It's where, like, you know, after the Eagles won, weren't they eating horse, like, manure or some crap? I don't know.
I believe the technical term was horse shit, but, you know.
Horse
just me.
shit.
There we go, okay.
All right, and welcoming back to the podcast, of course, hashtag wrestlers, love, 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 Kriss Nunez. Welcome back, hashtag next level, the one and only they don't want none, Kriss Nunez. How are you, Chris? How's everything?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me again. I very much appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good to see you back, man. And speaking
Good to be
about
back.
big returns, ladies and gentlemen, finally, after months and months and months, round of applause, the clapping's going again over here. His first time as a father on the show.
Aww.
The Vac Attack is back, Jack. Ladies and gentlemen, the human wrestling encyclopedia himself, Mr. Michael Vacchiano. What's up, Mike? Welcome back, bro.
That was very unexpected. Thank you so much. Just happy to be back. Thanking my wife Megan and my beautiful daughter Tessa. I love you guys. Thank you for letting me, come out and have some fun.
Yes.
Hashtag dad goals.
We're off to a good
Nice.
start already, guys. I love it. All right, so we're here to talk Extreme Rules. I know there's a lot of wrestling going on this week. I know we'll sprinkle in a little tidbits here and there. But right now, I want to start with the ladies' match, as we always do here on the Bob Culture Podcast. We're talking about Alexa Bliss with Nikki Cross versus Bayley in a handicap match for the Smackdown Women's Championship. I'm going to start with Queen on this one because Queen absolutely knocked it out of the park with the Money in the Bank predictions, especially when it came to the women's side of things. She called everything with Bayley, Becky losing the championships, the cash-in, everything. So I'm going to throw it over to Queen. Queen, what do you think about this match? Do you think we'll see any surprise returns? And do you think Bayley will be walking out still the SmackDown Women's Champion?
Yes, she will. This is not going to be anything different than the last time when we had a chat about Miss Bayley, honey. She's going to be walking out SmackDown Women's Champion. Not to say, the 2-on-1 scenario. Yeah, all right, we got a little bit of tougher odds. But I don't think that that's going to really change much of anything. There's going to be some interplay. I think there's going to be some confusion between Nikki and Alexa, maybe some bickering. And, perhaps there might be, maybe, just this, aura of purple hair. You know what I mean? It's like I see it in my eyes, and I'm like, what could that possibly be? Something legit may be returning. I don't know.
Nice.
I don't know, but I got that feeling.
Last time I checked, that legit feeling was in Japan.
It was. But yeah, I think Bayley's going to retain here. I think they're trying to build towards eventually Krus versus Bliss. And I don't know if it's going to happen at, exactly this time, right? The split, but there's going to be some tension.
Love it, Queen. On point as always. Mr. Bodkin, what do you got?
Well, it's tough. Listening to the We Watch Wrestling podcast, which is a great podcast, is they're talking about how don't be surprised if this whole what we think is going to happen with Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss doesn't actually happen, because they tend to do this where they don't, like, how many times do we see Sasha and Bayley, we're going to break up, and they didn't break up, and
True.
They try and tease breakups and doesn't happen. So while I could see Bayley walking out with it, I could also see that I don't think anyone's going to break up. I think this Alexa and Nikki thing is going to keep going. It's kind of hard to say that it's for Alexa not to come out with the belt, because she needs something to do. But I think we will see, like, SummerSlam, I think, is going to be Alexa and Bayley just straight up one-on-one. So, yeah, somehow Nikki does cost Alexa the match, and, the infighting will happen a little bit, or Alexa will just start treating Nikki worse. But I think at the end, Bayley somehow, due to miscommunication, retains the title and heads into SummerSlam, where I think she loses.
Interesting. All right. Looking ahead to SummerSlam. We got 2 for Bayley. Nooner, what you got, bro?
Yeah, I think Bayley's going to retain as well. Agreed on all counts that there's going to be some confusion between Nikki Cross and Alexa. I also think Charlotte is going to get involved at some point. I don't know if it's going to be in this match, but I think once Bayley retains, as I recall, I don't think Charlotte's gotten a rematch yet for the I know they don't do automatic rematches anymore.
True.
But from what I gather, I don't think Charlotte has gotten her rematch. So I think they're gonna have that big match probably at SummerSlam.
Has she been off TV?
Yeah, she's been off for a little bit. So but I'm thinking that Charlotte, if not at the pay-per-view, probably the SmackDown after, I think will get involved at some point. But Bayley will retain.
Interesting. Well said, Nunez. Vac, take us home on this one.
I'm going to it's kind of tough with this. I mean, you would think, you got some scenarios to play out with this. Nikki Cross could get the pin and then essentially wins. Alexa blasts the title. Sorry, Bill, you beat me to that. My female Scottish accent, but yes. You don't know friendship, Bayley.
There it is.
Look, last time Bayley feuded with Alexa Bliss, Alexa pretty much, had her number every single time and made her look like horrible. But I think it's a good way for, Bayley getting back on a SmackDown, won Money in the Bank, got it back from Charlotte, everything like that. And I could totally see a Bayley-Charlotte feud where, again, Bayley's going to have to prove that, yeah, even though she'll be the underdog in that feud. So, you know what? I say Bayley-Charlotte at SummerSlam. Charlotte, like you said, can come back and reinsert herself into the women's division because she just can. She is the Cena Orton of the women's division because she's got that, All right, I know. I slipped my mind after that. Wait till we get to the Bacon Robin match. But as far as that goes, yeah, I'll go with you guys. I'm gonna say Bayley holds on to it through miscommunication or some other scenario. Maybe Nikki Cross just realizes, you're just using me, Alexa. Nah, not having it. So yeah, I'll say Bayley retains.
Now, is it tag in and out, or is it both people in the ring at the same time?
I think not said yet. I don't know. That's a great point, though.
That could factor in a lot too, because if they're both in the ring at the same
tornado
time,
tag,
yeah, that's going to be tough.
Fascinating.
I think WWE is going to make that decision about 5 seconds before the match starts.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
You're not wrong. All right, let's get it going here, guys. Talk a little bit of cruiserweight action, and yes, I am picking Bayley as well. I'm leaving it to you guys mostly on this one, but got to go Bayley, pretty much because the Queen said so. So there you go. All right,
that's a good reason.
It's the best reason. All right, let's talk a little bit about this cruiserweight action. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now I haven't kept up with 205 Live. I believe we have Drew Gulak versus Tony Nese. What a great match this is going to be. I'm very excited for this one. Gulak just won it. I think he's going to hold on to it. Nunez, any thoughts on this one?
I agree. It's the same thing. I think Gulak's going to retain it.
Done. Vac?
I say Gulak is going to retain it, if only for the sake that when this whole roster shakeup, they're going to do another roster shakeup apparently in October officially when they debut on USA or what is it? What did they debut on Fox? Fox. See, I can't keep up. But
Fox.
Tony Nese to me is a guy who I was a fan of ever since the Cruiserweight Invitational a couple years ago. He's got everything it takes. Yeah, I know the ab counting. I mean, everybody hates it, but I think it's hilarious. But
8 reasons.
Yeah, 8 reasons. Okay. But Tony Nese is a guy who I think could be like an Ali or, I don't know where the hell he is, Buddy Murphy, who's got that look and skills that could be, he could start doing some stuff with some of the non-205 guys, 205 Live guys. So, yeah, I think after a hard-fought match, Drew Gulak uses a technical and rough and, tough all that crap. Yeah, I'll say Gulak.
All right. Everyone on the same page for this is an interesting podcast. We're all agreeing. Queen, you sticking with Gulak on this one, or are you going to go Tony Nese?
Oh, no, Gulak all the way, honey.
Yes. Boom.
No, don't need anything else but that.
Love it. Bill, take us home.
Well, I think there's a couple of reasons why Gulak gets that title. One, he hasn't had it long enough. 2, he's going to be a big part of the Evolve
True.
10-year anniversary that's airing on the WWE Network. Just ironically, just happenstance that it's going against an AEW show. But he's going against Matt Riddle, and I think they're going to use that because I think we're going to see a lot more Evolve on the network coming soon.
I do too.
So to say like, hey, Gulak was on the main event of this show we just had, it was a big deal. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little more Gulak and Evolve. And, the Gulak's just been that good soldier. And it's ironic because he was a soldier and Chikara, that he's just been a great dude for WWE. And I think he holds on to it. And I think there's a lot of mileage with Drew Gulak that we have not got. I thought we saw some of that with the Zoe train. And I think there's a lot more we're going to see of that. So I think Gulak in his hometown, although WWE likes to have people drop it in their hometown,
yes,
I think Gulak retains it in Philly.
Oh, good call on the hometown. A couple notes there. First of all, Drew trained a lot of the people that we've had, a lot of the indie guys on this show. Him and his brother, I believe.
I wasn't even aware of that.
Yeah. Which is very interesting. Good call on the hometown. I didn't even think about that, the Philly stuff. And talking about that Evolve 10th anniversary show coming up this Saturday, just got to say, it's super excited for some of these guys we see in Evolve all the time. And Nunez, we just saw him at Warped Tour, our good friend, Mr. Joe Gacy.
Our best friend.
Yeah, our best. That's right. So we're excited for him.
I told him how to park and pay for parking in Asbury Park like last year.
Nice. There you go.
All right, that was a year ago, actually. Him, Anthony Green was on that show. Josh Briggs was on that show. Yeah, shit. Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's going to be.
Irony. Private Party was on that show.
Nice.
Jesus, that was that. Wow, talk about it a year later. Fuck.
It's going to be great, but I'm so excited for them. As far as these indie guys getting a big break, I'm so excited for them. And a lot of our personal favorites. I think I could speak for Nunez and myself. A lot of these NXT guys came up through Evolve, so super excited for that. It's going to be great.
And I also think he's going to lose to Riddle too in that main event. So I think he's going to get his win at the pay-per-view.
Good call.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Because Riddle he's a god amongst men.
You know what? Yeah, there's some mixed. You know, it's funny, Queen, because we're all making faces over there, and then Queen goes, "Well, I'll say that." Not
You're
to get
Samoan. Put something on your feet, dude. Come on, I'm sorry.
No. Honestly, I'll say this.
No, first off, here's my thing about Matt Riddle.
Yeah.
I agree with him. Fuck shoes. They're terrible. Awful. Don't ever wear them. Secondly, bro. I know he's not for everyone. I'm not
He's
ever going to
grown
knock
on
anyone
me.
for liking someone.
He's grown on me.
Not liking someone, but Riddle and I, we got to think. There's a lot of stuff we're on the same wavelength with.
I got you. I'll say this, and Bill, you know this from my reviews, some of the NXT reviews earlier on. I was hard on him. He didn't impress me with his matches with Cassius Ohno. But we saw him live in person a few times on a regular NXT episode. He had a match with Adam Cole. Very impressive. His match with Velveteen Dream, great. He has made huge strides, so he is winning me over. I was not a fan.
His match with, and which is crazy because I love Cassius, but I feel like there's a disconnect with him in NXT. But he's always, to me, has always been legit. I would see his stuff in the UK. He always killed it, and I just felt like when he got to NXT with his stuff with Cassius, just never clicked the way it should have.
It was weird. Yeah, that was not my. I was down on Riddle.
But I was at TakeOver 25, and I got to see that opening match with Roddy Strong in person, and it was
Great match, too.
It blew me away. I was like, that is a hell of an opener. Hell of an opener.
I loved being there in person to see that. It totally changed my mind about how I felt about Riddle.
Oh, nice.
Queen
Yeah,
was there. Yes, Queenie was there.
that opening match blew me away.
Chubby Roderick Strong and meeting him in a bathroom at the Rahway Rec Center for a Jersey All Pro show where Sami Zayn in a mask decided not to do his practice matches in a mask when he was El Generico, allegedly, with Kevin Steen. Man, it's so crazy. When you go on indies and you see these guys 15 years later, to see them as huge stars, it's so crazy.
Yeah, Roddy Strong, no chubby, no more.
That's right.
No, he is no carbs ever.
Did you want to weigh in?
No, that's cool. I mean, look, Matt Riddle, he's great in the ring. Oh, I'm not going to deny that. I don't know. He just looks like a guy who said, hey, I'm going to just, start wrestling in my underwear in the ring. It looks like he's just wearing boxer briefs, and I guess that's part of his thing.
Comfortable.
Yeah, okay, I'm just going to wear boxer briefs. I'm going to go in the ring, no feet. I'm just going to, it's basically it reminds me of, when I played with my wrestling buddies when I was, 5.
Wrestling buddies from Tonka?
They're supposedly supposed to play out the MMA stuff.
Okay, no, I get that. I understand. It just feels like it's just hey, I'm just a kid. I got long hair, and I'm going to start doing some wrestling. Whoa, all right.
Wrestling Buddy's so good, by the way.
Yes, I do. I had a Macho Man. You can ask Rob.
Well, I look back. If you smoke that much weed, you would be the same way.
I mean,
Jesus.
I mean, I
You're not
know
wrong.
that for
Then I got news for you. Then that corkscrew senton off the top should be called a 420. Not
Nice.
a
Oh,
Nice.
got him.
nice.
Got him. All right.
bazinga.
Hey, we're supposed
Love that.
to be,
Wow.
WWE's supposed to be edgy now, so we'll see.
Oh, boy. All right.
I don't know if they're going to be that edgy.
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you what, guys, a little bit off topic, but you know what? We cover everything here on the BCP, so I love it. Let's keep it going, guys. I'm so excited to talk about these matches. Mike and I were talking earlier today, and we're looking at the card, and we're saying, you know what? There's some really good matches on this card. I'm going to throw it out right now. I think there may be 2, possibly 3, I'll say 2 potential Match of the Year candidates
bold
on
statement.
this card. Yeah, I'm throwing it out there. And right now,
I like it.
I'm going to say give these matches time, much like NXT does at the TakeOver, because let's face it, NXT is
see.
the best. Give these matches time. That's all I ask. Please, no interference, no countouts, no nonsense, which I'm very scared of.
That's a lot to ask.
It is. First, let's start with one of my...
No nice things. That's not going to happen, honey.
Yeah, I mean, brother.
Yeah.
I love you,
Preach
Bob.
on it because I love that attitude. Because I feel you. I just wish there wasn't however many matches there are so we could give them all time.
This
You're
is
right.
true.
You're right. Queen, that's why you're here. Someone's got to keep me in check here. Yeah. But let's talk about one of my favorite guys ever since I saw him, 4 or 5 years ago in Asbury Park. Was it that long ago? Aleister Black. Nice dude, met him. He's very great to us and just phenomenal performer. Love the gimmick. Love everything he did in NXT. It was great to see him come up to the main roster with Ricochet, another favorite. Great team. So excited for all that. He's been off TV for a while. He's had these promos. I get what they're going for. I have mixed feelings about the promos. Don't mess this guy up. I don't see him taking a lot of pins. I see him being dominant. I kind of like the quiet aura about him, so those promos aren't my favorite. But we'll see where it goes. Cesaro being the one who knocks, making that Breaking Bad reference on Twitter, which was very nice.
I've done my job.
Yeah, I like it. I like it in terms of the match. I don't understand necessarily why it is Cesaro storyline-wise, but hopefully we get a heck of a match because Cesaro's a guy that's just going to try some crazy stuff, put it all out there. This is kind of a re-debut for Aleister Black. I'm 100% behind Aleister Black. I think he's going to win this one, and in a potential really, really phenomenal match. People are already putting it out there, potential match of the year. I know that's a huge statement, but these guys know how to work in the ring. Let's throw it over to Vac.
Well, I'm going to say, like, Cesaro's new thing, I love. He, like, the whole Swiss cyborg, he actually looks like a friggin' cyborg, like a Terminator, when he goes out of the ring. He goes in there, stone-faced, takes care of business, doesn't smile, cracks his neck a little bit, throws people around, beats them up, boom, done. You know, the swing is probably, like, the most, like, you know, what do you call it? Like, the most flashy, as far as, like, you know, you think of, like, the Worm, and you think of, like, the, you know, Five-Knuckle Shuffle. No, the swing is probably, like, his version of that. And even then, it still looks like it hurts the hell out of you. Like, I get dizzy just watching the damn thing. But he reminds me a little bit of, like, Kurt Angle's wrestling machine gimmick he had in the mid-2000s.
Yeah.
Basically coming in, mouthpiece in, let's go, boom, done. Right over, out of the way. And, look, I think it's going to be a great match with Aleister Black. Aleister, I think this is one of the best opponents he could have for, like, his solo debut on the main roster. Unfortunately, I don't, as much as I love Cesaro and I would love to see him win this match, it's out. Aleister's got to win. He's going to win a hard-fought match. Yeah. But Cesaro's not going to look bad in the process because he's, like, you know, Aleister Black, like, he's going to get those friggin' tattoos ripped right off his skin from the, you know, the Swiss cyborg. And, you know, I'm glad. I mean, I was throwing last minute the other night and they've announced it, but it's one of the matches I'm looking forward to the most, just like I know you are, Rob.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm going to say Aleister takes it in a very hard-fought match.
Really well said. Nunez, what do you got on this one?
You pointed to it, you alluded to it earlier. Wrestling-wise, this is going to be a fantastic match. The only thing is, it doesn't make sense story-wise. I don't see the dynamic between them. I don't see the reason. Like I said, the wrestling part is the part to care about. I just don't get the dynamic between them. And after this match, I don't know if there's a reason to go on between the two. I don't know what reason they would give for that. But like I said, as far as like in ring, it's going to be really, really good. It's a shame because Cesaro still has a lot left in the tank, and he should get a push. But this is going to go to Aleister Black. You can't have all these promos and build them up for him to lose, you know. So
absolutely,
it's got to go to Aleister Black.
Yeah, really well said, and I agree. I don't see him taking too many pins.
Yeah, me neither.
I love what you said about the wrestling match is going to be great. You don't really get the story. You don't see how it's going to move forward. They kind of like built it a little bit on Smackdown. They kind of had like that sit-down interview with Cesaro and Aleister, and none of them really said anything. I think
Cyborg.
Yeah, well, along the lines, I'm ready to fight you, and got hyped up, but there was no like, you know, it wasn't like I'm going to challenge you, Aleister Black, you know, you're this new up-and-comer. Like, there was nothing like that.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
All right,
exactly.
you should have sat down and said, I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
Nice.
There it is.
Nice.
Nice. Loving it.
I had to drop it. I'll let everyone else talk now.
Nice. Queen, what do you got on this one?
So, Aleister Black all day, every day. But this is absolutely the case here. I love Cesaro, too. It's just not going to happen. It wouldn't make it worth this re-debut and this new impression that they're giving of him if he comes up short here. So it's just, it doesn't make sense to me story-wise. And I hear what y'all are saying about this story, but I think what they're trying to do is build on the main card, legitimacy for Aleister Black as a single star. So they're going to put him against somebody who is a credible fighter, one of the best. That uppercut is just a nasty thing, and I would never want one to the face. Yeah. So, you know, I think what they're trying to establish is his not running through people, but giving you amazing, hard-hitting, boot to the face, black mask to the face matches from him to build towards something big, and it starts with a B and ends with a Y. So I'm thinking, you know, Aleister versus Bray Wyatt eventually, right? So I'm thinking this match is leading up to that.
Love it, Queen. Yeah, what a fun match that would really.
Right?
No, just saying. I was going to nod. Like your father-in-law, Mr. Ken Ortiz, was also clamoring for that Bray Wyatt, Aleister Black feud. But I mean, that could be possibly, if not in time for SummerSlam, then definitely could go into the fall, leading it all the way to the Survivor Series.
Yeah, a little bit more down the line.
You know, I mean,
Exactly.
I feel like Bray, his characters always seem to pop up, or it did. Who knows what they're going to change during the Miz
Agreed.
and his segments. So I'm like, I feel like that's where they're going to go with that. I feel like Bray is. I want to feel like they're going to push him towards Raw for some reason because they've got Heyman, and I feel like Heyman would know what to do with him more than Bischoff or whomever, I guess.
Yes. You know what? I heard.
Shout. But, I mean, really, I know these brand splits are going to be more legit once the fall thing happens. But, until then, they have room to play and room to do things. And I hear you on the character pop-ups with Miz. That would be very interesting. But I think eventually these two need to meet for their characters. It's too good of a story to throw out, So it might not happen immediately, but maybe in the future.
Yeah, it's all very interesting.
Neither of them can afford a loss right now, especially with Aleister Black. And Bray Wyatt hasn't even been on TV in, well over a year, right?
Is that right?
I mean, as far as, like, in-ring.
Yeah.
that's the only downside with that feud is, like,
It's like neither of them can afford to lose.
It would have to be, like, at least, like, a month to 2 months of, like, backstage vignettes or attacks or things like that before it leads to an actual match. And after a hard-fought match, then maybe somebody can lose through, probably I would think Bray Wyatt would get the one-up, and then the feud would continue. But right off the bat, they say, okay, so what, we're attacking you. And then a week later, it's booked for, one of them gets taken out. It's not good. But, of course, you got, like, Black Mass, Wowie Zowie, who knows what the hell is going to happen with that. And I'm on board with it, totally. But as far as Cesaro go, I mean, if we're still talking about Cesaro and Aleister Black, I got to go back to Cesaro. The guy deserves some kind of. He's got to get some kind of mid-title.
You've always
picture.
been a very pro Cesaro podcast.
I've been a
Cesaro
fan
guy.
since Ring of Honor, the Claudio Castagnoli. I mean, seeing some of his matches back then with Sami Zayn, back when he was El Generico, I'm like, this guy's just freaking unbelievable. Like, doing like the no arms to like spinning torture rack.
My
it's
favorite.
Like,
Still haven't seen it on WWE yet.
Hopefully they let him off his leash and let him bust it out. I mean, I loved his tag team with Sheamus. I mean, Sheamus, who knows what's going on with him, but Cesaro being by himself right now, hey, I'm all for it. And speaking about Cassius Ohno, if they bring Cassius Ohno up and they want to form Kings of Wrestling, I'm down for that too, because they would love to see him in the dominant tag ranks. But right now, if Cesaro's going to go solo, realize what you have. This guy can have fantastic matches with freaking anybody. He doesn't need a long promo. Like I said, he's a cyborg. Let him do his thing. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
Dig it. Yeah, we're covering everything here, guys. Really good stuff. Hey, back to Bill saying Bray Wyatt being at Raw or probably being on Raw. I forget, Kriss Nunez, who reported that Bray Wyatt was making an appearance at Raw? It was someone close to the show. I forget who it was, but I heard that Bray Wyatt was backstage at Raw this week, so that's all I'm going to say about that. Anyway, Bill, what do you think about this? Who did you have on this one, Bill?
So, part of me, like, I have my weird not going to happen fantasy booking would be to be like, well, if WWE wants to really stick it to AEW, we get a time limit draw between, as he's dubbed by Sheamus, Big Dick Tony and Aleister Black. And they shake hands and eventually become a tag team and become the most dominant tag team in WWE history because both of them together would be an amazing tag team. The other scenario, which isn't going to happen, is these guys deserve a 15 to 20 minute match to tell their story, and people would eat it up. But it's not going to happen. You're probably going to get maybe 10 minutes at most. And like Queen was saying, this is all about building Aleister Black back up, and he hasn't really. He's been predominantly tag teams, and he hasn't had that moment to shine as a solo. I mean, maybe he did once on Smackdown. I just can't remember. There's been a lot of wrestling since pre WrestleMania, and this is about him taking a beating and him delivering a beating and coming out on top. And I really hope they have a plan for this. Like, I could see them wrestling a few more matches, maybe, but like, I really hope they have a plan for Aleister Black, because he is someone they could really build to be something special, into a top tier star, someone who's going to be unique for when they debut on Fox. It's going to be catch eyes, and people are like, ooh, that's different. I like that. Let me watch this.
Yeah.
I also think he should be on Raw with Paul Heyman, because I think Paul Heyman will have could do a good things with a guy like that. And he's proven he can work with dark characters before.
True, yeah. I love, almost like an Undertaker, a Demon Finn. Like everyone wants to see him with Bray Wyatt.
I was saying like a Raven type deal.
Yeah, going back to ECW.
He's a very cerebral, thoughtful dude. Like, I listened to his interviews before he was Aleister Black. Like, this guy is a very smart guy. And I feel like Paul Heyman, like, that's the type of guy Paul Heyman likes. That's the type of guy Paul Heyman, like, used very well in the ECW, especially with Raven, to deliver interesting, eye-grabbing, just, like, money-making feuds and promos. Even if they weren't the main event, they meant something to people. And that's something I think WWE needs.
Love it. Really well said. Hey, are we going Aleister all around here? Is that final answer?
Yeah.
That's
probably the lock of the night, probably, I would think.
Lock of the night, yeah. We got to start featuring that regular segment. The Bob Culture Lock of the Night. You heard it here first.
I'm on board.
I need some sort of like cheesy lock-up sound effect or something like that. That's why you're here, Mike. All right, let's keep it going, guys. Talking about something that I think a lot of people would agree could be a potential match of the year. I have this guy in a lot of my match of the year candidates. Great matches. Ricochet, such a huge fan.
One and only.
Oh, the one and only. That's right. I don't like the pew pew. Not a fan of the pew pew.
No, take that out.
He's a nice Irish boy, that Ricochet.
And then with Aleister Black, they do like the creaky thing. Like, why'd you have to? Yeah, why? You just, it's like Moxley said they had to get their hands on it. It's just like, I don't like it.
They're gonna put a hat on a guy already wearing a hat. That's why.
Yeah, I don't. Exactly. But of course, we're talking about Ricochet versus AJ Styles. # gonna beat up Ricochet. For the United States Championship. Guys, I'm so excited for this one. Ricochet.
You start this one off, Rob. This is your guys.
Thank you so much.
It's your show. I'm going to hand your show back to you.
You're allowed to answer on your show, Rob.
Thank you. You can tell I'm excited about this one. Last time I had Queen on, we were talking about AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins happening. We thought it might be the SummerSlam match, and it could be down the line, too. We were super excited for it. We were talking about that one being a match of the year candidate. This one's going to be awesome. Like I said earlier, please give it time. And can we not have Anderson and Gallows interfere? So that's where I'm kind of confused on this one. This is a tough one for me. Bill, what do you got on this one? I'm going to throw it to you guys first. Sway me.
First off, let me just put like RIP to the #worst podcast ever, and that's Talking Shop, the Anderson and Gallows podcast, which literally was not the worst podcast ever. It was like, it gave me life every Saturday. It was Anderson and Gallows getting drunk in Japan, talking about how big Shelton Benjamin's penis was, and basically just talking a whole bunch of malarkey and characters, like everything from Southpaw Regional Wrestling basically came from that podcast. And so the fact that they re-signed with WWE just breaks my heart. They got paid out the ass, though. So if they're going to fight, my big problem with the whole Ricochet thing, and this has been a WWE thing for a long time, I want him to have backup. Like, I want someone has to like Ricochet. In order, like, if Anderson and Gallows come out and two dudes come out and help him out, and we could elevate those two guys and we get we have moving parts in a Ricochet AJ Styles feud. Like, I'm all about it. I really thought it was going to be the Usos, but I just don't see it because, well, what do they have to fight the club for? I mean, there's no titles involved. But I was hoping we would, and I still hold out hope that if you told me the Street Profits are going to help him out, because from their NXT relationship, I'm all for that. Because, give me a complex feud that has multiple, and that's, I guess, my AEW soapbox is, even though they've only had a few shows, their feuds, there's stuff that has moving parts. You could go different ways with things. There's a lot of creativity. And to have a Ricochet Street Profits versus the club, wow, that's a main event anywhere, and I love that. And I think, like Robbie said, this is going to be, if given the time, it's just going to be an awesome match. And I think AJ Styles is going to come out with the belt because I think the money will be in the chase at SummerSlam, and I think that's going to be my theme for SummerSlam. I would love to see a 2 out of 3 falls match, a legit one, not like we did the first 2 falls, then we can go to commercial, like we do on Raw every week, which is such crap. And we get a legit 2 out of 3 falls match or a 30-minute Iron Man match between these two guys who prove that people really like them. They've been a main event on Raw for 2 weeks in a row. Like, give them the time and give them the spotlight, because I think they can really run away with it. And Ricochet is really coming into his own, and what better way to do it against AJ Styles? This is going to be the match of the night for me, and I still say AJ. He's been my favorite since the WCW Cruiserweight Tag Team Tournament, so he's going to take the belt, go to SummerSlam. Ricochet takes that title back.
Wow, man. Really interesting. And just more AJ versus Ricochet. Like we always say here, the real winners.
The fans.
Thank you, Michael. Very good. A couple things to your point, Bill. I like what you're saying about a possible 2 out of 3 falls match. That would be fantastic. Some sort of gimmick or something going into SummerSlam. Let them have this match. But it was interesting about you saying them going to commercial. Mike and I were actually at Raw this past Monday, and I don't want to be a downer. I don't want to be that guy. But I'll say this. The opening match with Becky Lynch and Seth versus
Andrade and Zelina Vega.
That was interesting. Because, it was kind of like an elimination, intergender match.
Intergender elimination, but it was just kind of weird, strange.
Yeah, because Becky won and then she lost because she got eliminated, right?
It was, but not just that, but we're at the live show, and I think the first elimination goes down and they go to commercial, and the match just stops. Like, they don't fight through the commercial. They dim the lights. They're not cutting a promo, and they just stand outside the ring with the lights down. Like, there was no promo.
Very strange.
It was strange. Like, with other matches, they kept going, but they just stopped. And then, they came back from commercial. The lights came back. And to me, I was like, it really sucked me personally out of the match.
A lot of those heel wrestlers do not like Newark. Let's just put it that way.
Wow, yeah. Not a lot of love for Newark. But anyway, I digress. Mike, what do you got about this match, Ricochet versus AJ?
I'm going to probably gonna go with what Bill said, because I could totally see AJ. I mean, look, Ricochet definitely needs some backup. I mean, granted, we want to say 3-on-1, but but seriously, it's going to make AJ and look horrible if Ricochet is able to get out the win with AJ.
True.
I mean, listen, straight up, him 1-on-1, AJ Styles, hard-fought win. But with the club on the outside, come on. I mean, it's not feasible. I mean, Ricochet is awesome. We see him doing amazing things, but no, AJ is going to win, and somehow it's going to be where the club is going to be banned from ringside for a rematch at SummerSlam, and him and AJ are going to have it. I mean, AJ does not need to be in the world title picture. He's proved that. He'll work with anybody. This is only going to help Ricochet. Ricochet might just be 2019's breakout star on the main roster. I mean,
he does things I've never seen before in the ring.
Every match.
It's kind of cheesy to say, Rob, but it's true. And a man who doesn't, he's what they wanted Neville to be, and it's like he seems like he's taken.
That's super accurate.
They wanted Neville to be a guy who's like barely 200 pounds. Great physique, but could do amazing aerial things, and no one could do it, and have great matches with all these guys who were like 50 to 100 pounds heavier than him. And but Ricochet is a guy. He's done awesome. He might be when all said and done, he might be one of the greatest people to come out of NXT, like the most successful guys.
Yeah.
And AJ is a great opponent for him to work with. It's only going to make this, it's only going to make his 2019 even better. I say AJ gets the belt at Extreme Rules, but a month later, I can see him getting it back against AJ at SummerSlam. But for Extreme Rules, for this Sunday, I'm calling AJ wins the United States Championship back after beating up Ricochet.
There it is. Yes, dig it. And I'll say this, SmackDown Live was the house that AJ Styles built. But at Extreme Rules, these guys might just tear the house down.
There you go.
There it is.
Oh, yes.
There it is. Hey, Queen, now you on the Money in the Bank prediction show, I believe it was, kind of saw this heel turn coming for Styles, kind of saw this coming. So I'm going to throw it over to you.
Yeah, so this one's interesting to me. So first, there's no stipulation on this match as of right now, correct?
No.
Correct.
Yes.
Nothing, right? Okay.
I believe that's the case.
Not a lot of.
So that's my first thing. So my second thing is, this belt is a little bit of a hot potato belt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
it moves a lot. It's got a lot of changes, and like you just brought up, we talked about this AJ Styles heel turn. I knew it was coming. I'm glad it's here. I like AJ more as a heel than I do as a face, and I love that he's back with the club. That being said, this one's a little tough for me to think about, because on one hand, you have Ricochet, who's unbelievable in any ring, by the way, whether that's high school gyms to here at WWE. He's unbelievable all the time. and they put this belt on him, they're clearly looking to push him, which I think is great, because you should. But would it make sense to pull that belt off of him right away? I'm not sure. It's been a month or so. So what does that say? Okay, he loses because of an overwhelming advantage from the club. All right, whatever. So you're going to make him chase for SummerSlam and then maybe get it back. I can see that. But on the other hand, you think about that. You can't really have the club come out here newly reformed. We finally get them back, coming out looking like a bunch of buffoons and ruining things for AJ either. So it's kind of like this weird thing. Do you give the belt to AJ and let Ricochet chase, or do you let Ricochet retain here? Because there is no stipulation, it leaves open the possibility for a DQ. So AJ, maybe, I don't know, somehow maybe Ricochet will retain with a DQ or something like that. So AJ still looks good building into SummerSlam, and then he takes the belt at SummerSlam and starts running rampant with the club. I don't know. It's really hard for me to kind of pinpoint what I want to pick here. This was the hardest one for me. I also agree it's going to be one of the best matches of the night on this card. But ultimately, if I really, truly think about it, I feel like I have to go with Ricochet retaining. So that's where I'm at.
And you bring up so many great points. That's why I'm stuck on this one. Why like you said, it's a hot potato belt. Like, I hate to see Ricochet lose it right away. I'm so happy he made it to this milestone in his career, but like you said, I don't know if Styles is going to lose. I haven't decided yet. Nunez, can you sway me? What do you got?
Well, to get to Bill's point earlier about Ricochet needing backup, Street Profits would be a great pick.
Love it.
But I think this spot would go to a team that needs to be reestablished, and I could see the Authors of Pain helping out Ricochet.
Wow.
Because Authors of Pain haven't been used. And they've kind of just been throwing people into things as far as, we were talking about Aleister Black and Cesaro before. Why not use them, and have a tag team, a big bad tag team, go up against the club. So, but as far as
just if that guy's back, though, I know he had pretty major knee surgery, so I don't know if they haven't mentioned if he's ready or not.
But as far as the match itself, like the Queen was saying, I just don't see it. The United States title has been a hot potato. It just doesn't make sense to give it to Ricochet, to only give it back to him. For him to lose it. So I see him retaining against AJ Styles, and I see Styles winning at SummerSlam.
Oh, going the other way. Oh man,
it is tough. Like the Queen said, it's in a weird spot right now because it doesn't make sense for Ricochet to lose, but it would kind of make AJ Styles and the club look dumb if Ricochet could overcome all three of them, So it's in a weird spot right now.
There's got to be some what I call WWE fuckery. There's got to be something going on. So, like,
that's every week.
Yeah, but we say that like he can't prove the club to be dumb, but he pretty quickly beat Gallows and Anderson.
Yeah.
So I mean, they look like schmucks already.
Yeah,
that's true. So I don't know. It just is like this weird little thing. So I feel like there's going to be some kind of fuckery going on.
Yeah.
That's a classic move. So I feel like we got to throw that in at least once,
Interesting. All right, guys, I've come to a final decision here, and I love all the input from all of you guys. This is the way I'm going to go. And I love both these guys. Obviously, my rooting interest right now is in Ricochet.
Mm-hmm.
I think hopefully we get that great match. I don't want any interference from the club or anything like that. Like, let them have this match. I think storyline-wise, Ricochet's got a long way to go.
Shark cage above the ring.
Oh, that'll be the next pay-per-view. There it is. But basically, I see AJ Styles taking the title in this one. Okay. Hopefully we get a good match. Hopefully no interference. I know this is like wishful thinking right here.
Yeah.
Post-match, you get that. I already won the title, but let's pick up Ricochet. Yeah. Styles clash off the turnbuckle. Exactly. Styles clash off the turnbuckle. Then Q, this is post-match, Q, whatever team, to come
out to help him.
Come help Ricochet, and they kind of build from there.
If they were faces, I'd say the War Raiders.
I have one other alternate theory.
Or whatever the hell they're calling themselves.
Okay, so Ricochet is one. AJ Styles is one. what happens if we go to either a double DQ or a draw here, and to prove it finally who the best is, they raise the stakes for SummerSlam for like a ladder match or something.
Oh, I do like that ladder match.
Oh, boy.
Now, let me tell you.
Because now it's you don't have the club, you don't have that interference there. Although they will be involved, I'm sure, somehow.
Yeah,
But if
especially
you
in the
go with
ladder
the draw,
match.
you're like, hey, wins and losses matter. Fuck you, AEW. And then with the fans win by saying, because now it's like, okay, now we have to raise the stakes even more. We've had these matches, it's a draw. Now we got to go to let's go to a ladder match. Let's go there, because I was thinking about the SummerSlam card, and you need that one big high octane match, and I think that's it.
Love it.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
And usually they'd go to the cage, no outside interference, so we're going to put you in a cage and yada, yada. I like the ladder way better. That's interesting. Really good stuff, guys. All right, I'm getting a little more excited.
Makes the U.S. title important again. Because we're saying it's a hot potato. Well, now it's marquee. Now you got a match for it.
Well, it's going to build off that. Like, I mean, these two guys are talking about, like, oh, who cares who wins? It's going to be an amazing show-stealing match. But, ladder match is good because, don't forget, how many United States Championship ladder matches have there been? There have been countless great IC title ladder matches. I mean...
Yeah, there hasn't been that many.
Now you got two guys who are perfect, could finally say, hey... This could go into that category of like great mid-card, ladder matches going on there.
The workers' belt, what I mean?
Workhorse.
Like the wrestling belt.
Totally.
All right, guys, I love this. A lot of input on this one. This is going to be a good match. I think we're all really excited for it. Let's talk a little bit about some tag team wrestling. Mike had that great article talking about bringing back the state of tag team wrestling. I forget, what website was that on again?
Popbreak.com.
Oh, popbreak.com. Yeah, they're pretty good over there. But basically, let's talk about the Smackdown tag team titles. Of course, we have Heavy Machinery versus D. Brian Rowan and versus the New Day. I think this is going to be another great match. Really, really good. Hopefully they give it some time. It's not elimination or anything cute like that. It's a straight-up match. I'm just going to throw it out here. Same thing I said on the last podcast. And I was wrong, but Heavy Machinery... I think they got a nice little momentum going for them. I think the crowd's behind them. These guys are characters. They're pretty good in the ring. They're great on the mic. These are the kind of guys, like I said on the last podcast, that they're helping set up the ring. They're staying after. Good backstage presence. For all those reasons, I see it going to Heavy Machinery finally on this one. Daniel Bryan kind of goes on more as a singles competitor thing with Rowan at his side. I don't see New Day capturing the titles again right here. Obviously, I think the New Day is going to implode like we all do down the line. We'll talk about that a little bit when coming up to the main event. So I'm just going to go Heavy Machinery. Mike, what do you got on this one?
Look, New Day, they don't need it. I mean, they've had it 5 times. If anything, it'd only be because that the New Day, Xavier and Big E would have belts. Kofi would have his belt if he retains, but we'll get to that in a little while. They don't need it. Heavy Machinery... the crowd's taking to them. Obviously, they had a nice match with Daniel Bryan and Rowan at the last pay-per-view.
Great match.
They looked good. People had low expectations, but Daniel Bryan, who I've always said, the guy's such a great, he gives just a great giver in the ring as far as letting his opponents, I
agree. Yeah, we kind of talked about him kind of putting
Otis
people
and
over.
Tucker look good. He took a lot of big bumps for them and everything like that. I love the tandem offense where one guy does a stalling suplex, partner tags in, takes over, holds over the stalling suplex. I'm talking about Heavy Machinery.
Yeah, I like that.
That's a cool little move, yeah. And yeah, Otis is a goofball. He's a 300-pounder who does the worm and all that. But you know what?
The Chris Farley of WWE.
The Chris Farley of WWE. But you know what? They're a pretty solid team. Exactly. Basically, it's like steaks versus pancakes versus soy patties.
Love it. Yes.
Nice. Yeah, thank you. I got food on the brain. Give me a break. But but I'm sorry. I mean, I think with the face teams of New Day and Heavy Machinery, I see Daniel Bryan and Rowan getting out with this one. Okay. I think Heavy Machinery got a little more chasing to do before they get those belts.
That's fair, man. Really well said. Go grab some pizza rolls. I'm going to throw it over to Nunez.
I agree with Mike. Daniel Bryan is still gold no matter what you give him. They did have a great match last pay-per-view. But I like he said, like Mike said, Heavy Machinery has a little bit more chasing to do. I think they're gonna save a lot of the big title changes for SummerSlam. But yeah, I do see Daniel Bryan and Rowan retaining with this one. It's going to be a very good match, though.
Wow. Okay, I might be going out on a limb here. Bill, what do you got on this one?
I'm gonna pass the buck because I still got some thinking to do.
Wow, Queen, take it away.
Okay, here's the deal. What's the point, okay, of Bryan and Rowan being like, yo, we're going to take the tag team division to the main event scene. We're going to, run the show, blah, 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 run in their mouth. If you're just going to drop the titles at Extreme Rules. Wrong. New Day does not need another title run, like we said. They're good. And I agree with the boys, honey. Listen, Heavy Machinery has some chasing to do. And I think they will chase all the way to SummerSlam. Mm-hmm. This match is going to be crazy. There's going to be a lot of awesome spots. There's a lot of talent in this ring, and it's going to be exciting. There's a lot of personality also in this ring, which is going to make for an exciting story. And I love tag team wrestling. I'm ready for tag teams to be taken more seriously in the WWE. Pipe dream, I'm aware. But hey, a girl can dream. However, the planet's champions are retaining these titles here.
Beautiful, Queen. Go ahead.
The reason I wanted to hear, because I think Queen has just this great logic to all her picks, so I wanted to hear her thoughts. Because originally I was going in to say, I think Heavy Machinery is going to win, even though I think Tucker Knight is the shits. Otis is the Shawn Michaels of that team. Tucker's he's just not very good in the ring, in my opinion. He's just not. And it's not like he doesn't try. He tries very hard. I don't think it just doesn't work. He's a 1993 WWE superstar. He's like a character. He was Duke the Dumpster Drosy's lost son. I don't know, but whatever it is, like I thought, like if they lose, what's the point? But I think it's like you need Bryan and Rowan to go into SummerSlam as a marquee tag team. I don't know if that marquee match is them versus Heavy Machinery or them versus the New Day. I think Heavy Machinery does need the belts, because if you don't do anything with them, and I hate invoking this doucher's name, but like they become Enzo and Cass. Like just hear me out. Like this, trust me. I get what you mean. I literally didn't go to the Great Adventure show because Enzo and Cass were on it. It was. I told you, I'm just like, fuck that. I ain't going to that show. That's how much I don't like them. But when they came up, they were red hot, and WWE didn't pull the trigger on them, and they cooled off tremendously, and they never really did the business they should have. Even though they're terrible in the ring, they were still really good characters that people liked. Heavy Machinery is like kind of like that. If they don't eventually get the belts, they're just call them the Ascension then, because what's the point? They're just going to be those big guys who get the yo-yo push every once in a while, and that's about it. So I think Rowan and Bryan go in there, they win. I don't know who goes on to face them at SummerSlam, but I think you need to keep the champs going strong into SummerSlam for a big money match.
That's fair, man. Really well said. So it looks like I'm all on my own on this one. Interesting.
It's not a bad pick, because I was going to go there, but I changed my mind. But like, I could see the logic behind you picking them.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Well, I got a 33.333% chance of getting it right. So there you go.
There you go. Something
interesting.
There,
don't start with that. There it is. All right, guys. Let's keep it going with the tag team wrestling. Queen, I'm going to throw it back to you. You being a big fan of the tag team wrestling. Of course, we have the Raw Tag Team Championships. The Revival versus the Usos. This one just kind of came out of Monday night. Going to be a really, really great match. Like we always say here, the real winners, the fans. And I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. I'm going to go to Usos. I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm getting a little creative here today. I'm going to go Usos on this one. What do you got, Queen?
They are going to be, instead of FTR, it's going to be Farewell, the Revival. And I'm with you. It's going to be Usos. Yes, honey. Thank you. Now, this is something that I think, there's got to be some sort of title change here. I don't think it's going to be a lot of titles, right? We've been booking basically everyone who has the championships to retain this far. And I'm thinking that this is going to be the upset of the night, right? They've had a lot of crazy antics going on between them. There's obviously lots of story between them too. And, Shane has been backing the Revival, and the Revival's been backing Shane, and blah, blah, blah. But I think this is really a time for the Usos to take those titles back and continue with what Daniel Bryan is trying to do with the SmackDown tag titles and create that legitimacy and create that momentum forward for that, as Bill was saying before, that marquee moment at SummerSlam. And I think they can run with that with the Revival, who's one of the best tag teams out there right now. But right now, for the Usos, this is going to be something that they win.
Interesting. I'll tell you what, Queen, every time you talk, there's just like a lot of nodding going on in the room. So really good stuff.
He's so happy.
Really good stuff. And do we think, I'll throw this also out there to you guys if you want to weigh in on this. Do we think the Revival is one of those tag teams that kind of has one foot out the door from a lot of their social media and whatnot? And
They should be. They should be looking at AEW.
They don't fit in WWE.
They don't.
They just don't. Like they're not like they're old school tag team. An old school tag team. They're not what WWE's vision of tag team wrestling is. They were Triple H's,
right?
But he ain't going to be running the show. So
very good. Well,
just to back you up there too, if you want tag team wrestling, unfortunately, right now WWE is not where you go because tag team wrestling is not the same level as other things. They're not as respected. Look at this match in general, kind of thrown together and like, okay, yeah, we're gonna fucking do it, great.
Yeah, but
there's nothing here.
Exactly. Think of tag team wrestling in like old school WWE,
sure,
NWA, early WCW. They were like the semi-main event, or they were co-main event.
Right.
You go to ECW. I mean, you look at the first ECW pay-per-view. They opened with the Dudleys and Eliminators, which was a red-hot feud.
Absolutely.
And like WWE tag team, like who was the last tag team people cared about? It was Bryan and Kane, and that was an accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Speak on it.
Good call. Bill, who you got winning this one?
So I think it's the Usos as well, and I think, and that maybe even playing into my Ricochet thing, I think like the SummerSlam match, you sign Gallows and Anderson for that much money, you better start getting use out of them. That's the SummerSlam match. There's the Usos and the Club, and you know what?
Yeah.
I don't need the Club to win that match. I need the Club to wrestle in that match. I don't need a 5-minute squash. I need those boys to bring out some New Japan goodness, which they haven't been allowed to do ever in WWE.
Let's see that Carl Anderson spine buster, which I think is very underrated. But anyway.
Oh, dude, well, brother, he made the G1 final, which he will tell you about anytime you ask him. And they even alluded to it this week on Raw, and I popped hard. But I think AEW, what needs to happen is the Revival need to leave. They need to quit and go to AEW and show up on TNT along with LAX to be in that tag team tournament, because that's the rumor I hear, and I will shit my pants. Not literally, but my soul will. But this should be. Unfortunately, I don't know if this I wouldn't be. I think this might be a pre-show match, actually, honestly.
That's what I was thinking,
which is a shame. And it's just like they're going to give it no time. It's going to get glossed over. It's going to be good. But I think the Usos win because the Usos are going to win. I mean, someone told me the other day Usos are a top 5 all-time tag team. I wanted to go through the internet and slap somebody. They're good. Don't get me wrong, they're good. But let's not forget, 3 years ago they still were wearing face paint and everyone hated them. So, I think the Usos win this one, and I think the Revival have been playing with us with how rich they are, because they know the internet and how much we've heard they've been offered. So. Oh
yes, we know.
Very true. All right, I think Mike's got some opinions over here. What do you got, Mike?
Well, if Revival is seriously their contracts are up, they're going to get out of their contracts and they're going to AEW, then yes, I think Usos should win. But if they're planning to stay, like if I were them, I would just say, Trips, we want 5 minutes alone with you. Let's talk. What are you doing with the tag team division? Like, are you seriously committing to bringing tag team wrestling back? And if Triple H has no answer for them, then they'd be like, all right, well, then we're going to consider options. We're going to go. Because
me, Mike, and I could tell him what Triple H is going to tell him because they have no plan for tag team wrestling. NXT does, but even NXT tag team division sucks because every time someone gets the belts, they pull them up. And
they call them right up, yeah.
Well, the problem with the Viking Raiders not prop, the Viking Raiders, War Raiders, whatever the hell they call them, 1,000 million names. They never actually dropped the belts. They didn't stay around to drop the belts. That was the interesting thing about it. But look, AEW and the Young Bucks, besides being vice presidents over there, are also part of the booking committee, and they said we are making tag team wrestling back, and they're the team to do it. They will be the face. They won't always be the champions, but they will be the measuring stick for tag team wrestling. You got the Revival over there. Okay, now Young Bucks will be like, all right, maybe, we got some legit guys who we can share the load with as far as, like, booking tag team wrestling, having great matches. I mean, you can see the Revival having, like I said, very old school, very straight-up smash-mouth tag team wrestling, and flips, no fists, no flips, whatever it is. And, yes, the Shatter Machine, seeing it in person, oh, my God, it's still one of the awesomest tag team finishers maybe of all time. But, seeing these guys start mixing up with tag teams from Japan and Mexico, which they're going to have a chance to do in AEW, I'd love to see that. But, I feel like we could get a great tag team match at Extreme Rules on Sunday, but I feel like we need to kind of bronze it and put it in a shadow box afterwards because we don't know when the hell we're going to get another great quality tag team wrestling match again. I mean, you think of the days of like the Hardys and Dudleys and Edge and Christian, and even a couple years ago, Usos and New Day when they had that great feud and had the Hell in a Cell match and everything like that. It was great.
Fantastic feud.
And since then they have not given tag team wrestling the respect they deserve. I'm going to keep ranting here, but I'm sorry. Sheamus and Cesaro losing to Braun Strowman and a friggin' 8-year-old kid. I'm not over that.
Yeah.
I feel like Stephen A. Smith ranting right here right now, but I'm sorry. I'm not over that. And if they're not going to give tag team wrestling the respect they deserve, then the Revival, who are one of the best pure tag teams the WWE's had in maybe a decade, then they need to leave. So with that, I will pick the Usos, because then if the Revival goes to AEW, it's just going to make more competition between the feds. So I'll go Usos.
Interesting, man. And let me just say this. I think I'm alone on this. I love that Nicholas thing, man. I thought it was great. Nicholas 1-0. Next year, Nicholas 2-0. Calling it now. All right, Nunez, who you got on this?
Just to go back to tag teams just for a second, it's crazy that the most the valued titles are the Raw tag team titles and the women's tag team titles. I think half the time people forget that the WWE has a women's tag that.
Weren't we supposed to get a tag title match on this? And because it seemed like they were building towards that. Really counterintuitive. Like, we had a really good build-up for a Shane McMahon Kevin Owens match that ain't happening on Sunday.
That was a nice spot for Kevin Owens. And they did on SmackDown, they did address it. They had the Page kind of backstage segment, like, we have our number one contender, or we are the number one contenders. We have our match. It's coming soon, because Peyton Royce pretended to be sick or whatever, or Billy Kay pretended to be sick or whatever.
It just amazes me that they created these titles and they're not even mentioned. Half the time you forget that the women's division has a tag team title. It's just a shame to watch sometimes.
That being said, I hope they have the tag team titles when they come to I Play America, though. It's always great when they have the belts.
I hope so, too.
But anyway, go ahead, Nunez.
But I was going to say, as you guys were saying, the Revival, as they should, they have one foot out the door. My view on this pay-per-view is I was thinking that all the champions are going to retain, and then, a lot of them are going to lose their belts at SummerSlam. But this is one of the few where I think the Usos are going to win the belts, and then unfortunately, the Revival are kind of just going to fade into obscurity, I guess. As far as WWE goes, they should be, wrestling other teams in, like, AEW or New Japan, or they should be somewhere else. They don't belong there.
Yeah, it's interesting.
If they do go to AEW, I think everyone needs to swallow their ego, and they should be managed by Jim Cornette because that is a print money feud.
It is.
Oof.
I know he sucks.
Oof.
I know he's a terrible son of a bitch, but given what can happen there, would set the world on fire.
Let's get the racket back. You know what I'm saying? Racket.
Yeah, I love Jim. Say what you want about Jim Cornette. He's amazing as a manager.
He's a piece of shit when it comes to a lot of other stuff, but given his history, like shitting on the Young Bucks, and having him come in, cutting that blistering promo with the Revival, I mean, that's main events.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Do you? And I want to keep this really short because we got to keep it moving here. Do we? We keep saying the Revival has 1 foot out the door. Do they want to be in WWE or do they want to be gone? All right, is that?
I think they do, but at the same time, like I don't know who made the point, but they don't fit there.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like their mold of their way of tag team wrestling, it doesn't fit in WWE. It doesn't fit WWE's vision. I feel like it's like fitting a I can't think of an analogy right now, but a
square peg into a round hole or whatever.
Like it just doesn't fit. The dynamic doesn't fit.
Their biggest fans are guys like legends like Stone Cold Steve Austin, who said they're the best pure tag team in the at least in the American feds, and Arn Anderson, guys who unfortunately a lot of young teenage fans don't even know who the hell they are. It's unfortunately, it's sad.
The morale's very interesting. And Nunez and I saw it firsthand the other day talking about this. Obviously you have the Moxley interview on Talk is Jericho. What a fantastic interview, really good. You have other things. Sean Spears was on with our good friend Chris Van Vliet. A lot of telling stuff about the morale and not being used or used properly, problems with creative. We met Cedric Alexander the other day. We were getting some autographs for the show. Very, very fun time, very nice to take pictures with everybody. And basically, someone in chat, get that 24/7 title or whatever. And you remember what he said, Nunez?
He was like, I'm good. I don't want that.
He goes, I don't want it. Yeah. So it's just like, I guess he's not about, doing that Benny Hill, like always say, running around, where they're all running around, chasing each other. He's not about it. Obviously, he did have a different role that we saw on
Good for
Raw,
him, main event of Raw.
It was just really interesting, at his place of work going, I don't want it. To me, that was really telling.
Yeah, his role would have been great if they actually booked it properly, too.
Yeah, it was.
If he had won, if he had pinned Shane McMahon, it would have made a difference instead of him smiling when he just ate a pin and no one gave a shit.
Yeah, that was a weird way to go out.
It was very strange.
There was a weird way to end the show. I'll give Mike credit because he did call it being Cedric Alexander as soon as he saw the first, springboard.
When you recognize a guy's offense within 2 or 3 moves, and I'm like, that should tell you something about, that's Cedric. I've known Cedric for, I haven't said known him, but you know what I mean. I've watched his stuff since Ring of Honor when he had that great feud with Roderick Strong. And, the lumbar check, he actually he adopted that move from Roderick Strong. Like, Roderick Strong,
true.
Was using it, and then Cedric kind of stole it from him because they had that feud going on, and Roderick gave him kind of his blessing, saying, use it as your finisher. It's good. And I said, Cedric is the guy, and I'm like, this guy could have great things. Then he had the Kota Ibushi match, and I'm like, he just should have came straight out. It could have been like, Roman, you don't have a tag partner. And then Cedric comes out and is like, I'll be your tag partner. And then, maybe he could have taken the pin from Shane. But still, just come out and be like, I'm Cedric Alexander. I'll tag with you, Roman, sure.
Interesting. All right, but we're getting a little off topic here, but I just thought that was worth mentioning. Really good wrestling, obviously. Weird way to end the show though on Raw. Very confusing. And speaking about things being very confusing, on all these podcast, prediction shows that we've been doing lately, any match involving Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, or Shane McMahon especially, I've pretty much gotten wrong. I cannot, even when Shane was feuding with the Miz, I think, Queen, you can attest to this from one we did a while ago. We're saying, this is Miz's time to get that push, yada, yada. I cannot wrap my finger or head around any of this stuff. No. I cannot wrap my brain around who's going to win, how's this going. So let's talk a little bit about The Undertaker and Roman Reigns versus, of course, Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre. My end game here out of all of this has always been kind of give Drew McIntyre the push. He hasn't been getting these pay-per-view wins. Didn't win at WrestleMania. He didn't win facing Roman most recently, right?
He didn't win Money in the Bank either, like we all expected.
Didn't win Money in the Bank. Shane getting all these wins we didn't think he'd win. We thought Miz was going to get this big push. So I cannot wrap my head around any of this. It's so super confusing. I don't know which way to go on this one, even though you have that super power team. I do think the end game here, especially from a lot of stuff and rumors you're hearing online, is for Drew McIntyre to get that kind of big win over The Undertaker down the line, whether it be WrestleMania or whatever, although very early build if that is the case. But I think the long story here is Undertaker giving Drew McIntyre that proverbial rub. We'll see what happens down the line. Mike, you look like you got a few things to say about this one.
Yeah, I mean, when Undertaker wants to work with you, that should just tell you something. So Undertaker,
Yeah.
I mean,
Especially in this state.
look, here's the thing. Undertaker, you know what his physical well-being. All of us were at Mania this year. We all were disappointed that he wasn't. I mean, here's the thing. Even though he maybe only do 2 or 3 moves, and but we all would have loved to have seen him there. But we know we can't expect any more from him. So him being just in a tag match with Roman Reigns, we're gonna be happy. We'll take what we get at this point. But even if even if you say, oh, he's a shell of his former self, it's still huge for Drew McIntyre to have a pin over The Undertaker on his resume. So I'm definitely saying that. It's going to be Drew McIntyre. It should be. I'm predicting Drew and Shane in this match because Roman and Taker got nothing to gain for it. And if Shane gets the pin on The Undertaker, I am going to get very, very upset because I know, as people said, they're sick of it, and he has not got his comeuppance. But McIntyre, even if it's just to come in and hit that one Claymore kick on, Undertaker and get that win, it's good. It's great for McIntyre. And I think it'd be better. I mean, then Shane can still technically say, hey, I was on the winning team. We won. I won. Blah, 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 But I'm predicting Shane and McIntyre. McIntyre gets the Claymore kick on Taker and gets the pin on Taker. I think Taker has said he wanted to work with him, and I think that's also this point in his career. Taker is also kind of saying, I'm willing to put him over. Just like he did with Roman a couple years ago and main event of Mania. So, yeah, I'm going with Shane and McIntyre.
There it is, Nunez.
By the way, this has got to be the most random return for The Undertaker in the past few years.
Truth.
You have the Hell in the Cell match with him and Shane, which was randomly thrown together. You have him and Goldberg at the Saudi Arabia show a couple months ago. And then nobody expected this, with him returning to team up with Roman Reigns on a random B-level pay-per-view. It's just very, very strange.
Always good to see The Undertaker pop up.
It is always good.
Nice
It's just,
surprise.
This has got to be the most random return I've seen him involved in. But to allude to what Mike said, it has to be Drew McIntyre pinning The Undertaker. But I would not be surprised if they have Shane pin The Undertaker. I really would not, because the way the show's been going, and it's like the moon and the stars have been centering around Shane McMahon and revolving around him, which I don't understand. I love Shane McMahon, but
very nice in person too.
He's extremely nice. I don't know why a lot of the show is dedicated to him, and I just wouldn't be surprised if he got the pin. It makes sense for Drew to have it. I just wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and I get they're doing that kind of authority thing or McMahon thing that they always do, but I just can't wrap my head around this one.
Yeah, really, I don't understand it.
It's crazy. Let's throw it to the Queen.
I actually don't think it's a random appearance at all. I think this has everything to do with the pay-per-view that will not be named by me ever, but the pay-per-view in which the match of The Undertaker, which did not go well at all. This is a way to wash away the stain, if you will,
that makes sense.
That horrifying match. And because this is a no-holds-barred match, it's going to allow for a lot of flexibility here in how they can execute it. It gives The Undertaker an opportunity to limit what he has to do in the ring. So for me, it was kind of random at first, but after thinking about it, I was like, oh, okay. Because to make more sense storyline-wise, it should be The Miz. But because they want a bigger name, they want more views and draws, they're bringing in The Undertaker. And this is kind of a way to kind of push the last terrible match out of the way and give us something, I don't know if I'm going to go with the word better, but I would go with the word not that. So for me, I feel like, they don't book Roman to lose on pay-per-views really ever. And that's another whole story for another time that I can go off with for days. But I just don't know why you'd put these two together to lose right here. And with the fact that it's no holds barred, there's an opportunity to build with, if you know, like we were saying earlier, the rumors, right, that are swirling of Taker versus Drew, potentially even as close as SummerSlam or something in the nearer future. There's things that they can do to build that storyline where even if Drew and Shane lose, there's still bad blood between The Undertaker and Drew. And I totally hear what you're saying. He obviously wants to work with him. That's a clear indication of the faith that he has in Drew McIntyre, and as he should. Drew has been misused, and he needs to be pushed as a single star, and he needs to get away from Shane. And I don't know. I don't have faith that they'll listen to us, and I can completely see Shane getting the pin here. And like Bob was saying before, when we predicted Money in the Bank, we were wrong, dude. I was just sitting there, like, watching this going, you fucking kidding me?
I don't
of course.
get it.
It was on a plate for you.
It's
No one in
pissing
that
me
match
off.
should have been Mr. Money in the Bank except for McIntyre. And then, of course, and then now it's like this match coming up. I'm like, oh, Undertaker requests to work with you. Great. Does that mean he wants to, like, put me over? No, we're going to give it to the 50-year-old Shane McMahon to have another notch on his friggin' belt.
Nonsense. It's complex. I'm going to press my daddy thing. I can't handle it anymore. It's got to go somewhere else. And hopefully off our screen. It's just not going to, but hopefully sometime soon. There could also be, guys, the potential feud between Shane and Kevin Owens. So there's some other stuff at play here that I feel like, for me, it's got to be Roman Undertaker to win here. And then some even post-match shenanigans that builds the story between Taker and Drew.
Love it, Queen. Really, really well said. And great job bringing up the point that it is a no-holds-barred match. I did not bring that up earlier.
I didn't even realize that.
You know, covering it from all angles like we always do here. We pride ourselves on that here on the BCP. Bill, take us home on this one.
So there is no possible way you bring The Undertaker back after that abomination and that pay-per-view I also shall not name, nor will I ever write about, nor will my site ever write about, is you don't bring him in to lose. And it's very nice that you guys think so highly of Drew McIntyre, but he's taking the pin, and he's going to eat both the finishes and take the pin.
Makes
I don't,
sense.
because like Queen just said, Kevin Owens is going to come out. Him and Shane are going to get into it. They're going to brawl away from the crowd. So Shane is not remotely involved in the finish.
Oh, wow. That actually sounds...
And Drew is going to be like, Drew, you disappoint me. He basically runs down Drew McIntyre. I don't think we see Drew McIntyre and The Undertaker lock up. I think Drew McIntyre wanders into the mid-card abyss again. And then when we need to build him back up to be a monster, he'll beat one guy, and then he'll go to whoever they need the babyface to beat. I just don't have faith that they know what to do with Drew McIntyre, because frankly, when was the last time Drew McIntyre won a match this year? I really can't name it. Not on any pay-per-view. He seems to lose to Roman Reigns a lot.
Yeah,
or Shane McMahon.
Yeah,
Or he just becomes
I'm trying to think.
He did beat The Miz.
You're afraid to make Roman lose, and you should not be afraid of that because the man needs to chase some shit. God, makes me so angry. Sorry.
But Drew McIntyre could beat anyone. He should beat anyone on TV. But give him Eric Young. Give him anyone to beat, so you understand that Drew McIntyre isn't just a guy who runs in and kicks a guy in the face. So I think he beat Kurt Angle. That was the last time, but that feels like 2 years ago. Like, I should be watching Drew McIntyre savagely destroy everyone. And Shane McMahon being the Bobby Heenan, they're talking about how great Drew McIntyre is. And Drew McIntyre should be the front man, and Shane McMahon is the side piece here. But that's not the way it is. Drew McIntyre is like basically Mr. Hughes at this point. He's just a bodyguard and for Shane McMahon. So Shane's not going to eat the pin. We're going to see Shane and Roman go at it at SummerSlam. I know Mark Henry on Busted Open said it's going to be Roman and Undertaker. It's not going to be Roman and Undertaker. Maybe it will be Drew and Undertaker, but Drew's going to – I don't know. I don't feel like – I think he's just going to get squished and that's it. Because I feel like this is about getting the older guys over to keep the fans happy. And this is just – I think this match is going to be just the drizzling shits. And I'm not looking forward to this one. Because Shane McMahon cannot do an entertaining match anymore. He has his 5 moves. He sweats like he just did 6 lines of coke in the background. And, like he's just terrible. And the audience has – the gimmick is done.
Yeah.
People don't want to see him anymore. People are like, we're done with you. Because what more does Shane McMahon move? He misses punches, and then he does the coast-to-coast, which he's devalued that move. Like, when Rob Van Dam did it, it was like...
Van Terminator.
This never happened. This was spectacle.
It
now
was.
This is as commonplace as a clothesline. So it's just like, it's Undertaker and Roman are taking this one. Hands down, lock it up.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's what it sounds like it's going to be.
Wow. I'm still on the McIntyre boat in that sense.
It makes sense. It should.
Look, the thing is, I feel like the Miz and the Miz and Shane thing to me still feels like it's unresolved, and like Miz, who I also like as a character. Yes, I watch Miz and Mrs. I watch with my wife. We both like. And
Hey, I've been on that show.
Hey, you have. That's right.
There you go. Guest star.
Yeah, there you go. Guest star. But look, SummerSlam will be getting ready for I think promoting the next season coming up. Miz can basically, I feel like it's a good idea for Miz to say, you know what, Shane, I want to face you one more time, and if I lose, my career is done.
Ooh, they
Basically
could do that.
saying, I'm going to put my career on the line to get a chance to face you one more time. And if you beat me, I think Shane's ego, character-wise, will be like, I get to retire the Miz. I already beaten you like 4 times already. Yeah, all right. But worse, it'll be like at no holds barred, so he'll get all his cronies. He'll get Elias. He'll get the Revival, if they're still there.
The revolving
He'll get
door.
Drew McIntyre. All his people to try to keep
Probably the
Miz
Mean
down.
Street Posse at some point.
And I'm sorry, but I would love to. I feel like the whole oh, your career is done. That doesn't apply to people like Shane McMahon. But if Miz, I feel like it'd be a chance for Miz to finally get that feel good victory, or maybe he takes a break. Maybe he really does lose, and sadly takes a break for a few months because I know he's got another baby on the way and stuff. But I'm sorry, but I want Miz to get his comeuppance on Shane. Maybe I'm just becoming too much of a
I don't think you can ring that bell again because they built it up.
They've
so
made him look
hard
like such a
and
fool,
so
and it's
hot
a
with his
shame.
dad. Like, how do you go back to that to reignite
You bring
that fire?
his-
Because
you bring his super hot wife on there to say, you know what, Mike, I'm kind of worried about you. Maybe you shouldn't take this match, and then have Miz be like, if my own wife is doubting me. And kind of be like,
awesome.
and kind of have like a little bit of emotion in
Pun
there, and have him
intended.
walk to the back and tell his wife, look, you know what, I got to do this.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The Miz doesn't even have a match on this pay-per-view, right?
He doesn't.
No Miz on this card now.
Like, you got to be kidding
Look,
me.
he's the guy who I think when he was a heel a couple years ago was like, this is how he should be in the main event. Not when he was like with Alex Riley and he didn't know he wasn't ready for it. A couple years ago when he's coming out with the whole what do you call it? The show enough outfit with the whole headband and everything.
and the
and
Talking
he had,
Smackdown
and the
promo.
B team and everything like that. I'm like, this is how he should be a main event guy. Then he got too likable and became a face, and he's working as a face. But also, Mike Mizanin, the guy, I respect him because he
Good
had
dude.
no business being a WWE superstar.
Good
he
guy.
had no natural talent. He worked his butt off. He did all the hazing, everything. Worked his butt off. Became some of himself. Utilized what he had. He's not a super pure athlete wrestler, but he works his butt off.
Over the past 10 years,
Married
he's
a
probably the
Canadian-
most improved.
Definitely. Worked his butt off, made some of himself, became a success, married a Canadian supermodel, for God's sakes. And now, he's living the dream. But I'd love to see him maybe, definitely he's better as a heel. Don't get me wrong. But I want to see him get that feel-good moment and maybe put Shane out of the way. But that's just wishful thinking.
It's interesting to see if they'll pick that up or not. By the way, first fantasy round draft pick.
Saquon Barkley.
He
That's
said,
a
he said
solid
he'd pick
pick.
Saquon. That's interesting. I think he's misleading him, misdirecting us,
Nice.
if you will.
Nice.
But we'll see what happens with that.
Oh, and congrats on Roman and winning an SP. Sorry, just going to
Oh, yeah, congrats to Roman on winning the ESPY. Yeah, that
Well
was
deserved.
my vote right there.
Well
A lot
deserved.
of great moments. But, yeah, we're so happy to see him back, like we always say here. Guys, we got to keep this moving. We got some main events to get to momentarily. We also have that last man standing match. I've been back and forth on this, so you guys really swayed me all different ways. I was going to go Drew and Shane. I think I'm going to kind of build off what Bill said, with Shane kind of fighting into the crowd with that amazing
That's
Kevin Owens
Yeah.
promo. You know that I love that. I don't like saying pipe bomb like they always say, but that promo, which was, I mean, it writes itself. Pretty much take what everyone's saying on Twitter, put it on the microphone. Kevin Owens, great delivery. Him name dropping names like Asuka, Kairi Sane, a lot of the stuff we're saying here on the podcast. People, where are they? They're being underutilized. So I think that's a great angle. I'm very excited to see where they go with that. To Bill's point, with Shane going away, having so many people to feud with, kind of not being as involved in this match, I'm going to go with the power team of Roman Reigns and The Undertaker for the win on this one.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, guys, let's keep it moving. We're going to go to that last man standing match between the Queen's favorite, Bobby Lashley, and I'm being very... she has a nickname for him. And then versus Braun Strowman. Queen, I'll throw it to you on this one.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna keep this real fucking short because I can't stand this. So first of all,
Can't blame you.
if y'all haven't heard my nickname for Bobby Lashley, I call him the Almighty Piss Break.
Yep.
Bobby Lashley.
True.
I can't stand him.
Nunez is dying over here.
Is he dying? Good. Hi. I'm glad you are. Listen. Okay. He's been saying some crap about like, oh, maybe he wants to go to MMA or UFC. Please, honey, go. Don't let the door kick you in the ass on the way out. I'm tired of seeing you on my screen. Get out of my face. And also, Braun Strowman, I'm over you. WWE ruined it for me. I'm done with this match. I couldn't care less. The only thing I'm happy about, people, is that it's got a last man standing, whatever, so it's going to go all over the place and be crazy. But also I'm happy about that it's not tug of war or an arm wrestle or some stupid ass truck, which isn't real. And, you know, I can't with that. I'm over it. Goodbye. I actually don't give a shit who wins this match, but I'm going to pick Braun Strowman just because I cannot stand Piss Break. So that's where I'm at.
Tell us how you really feel.
Tell him why you mad.
Tell us how you really feel, Queen. That was awesome. All right, let's throw it over to Mike real quick.
I really got nothing else to say after that. I mean,
You really can't follow that up.
good job,
Yeah,
Queen.
good
How
luck.
do you follow that? But yeah, I mean, this is just going to be like no crazy spots. It's going to be two guys trying to bulldoze each other. I will say, seeing him in person for the first time, first time for me seeing him in person, Lashley is a friggin' monster. He's a freaking.
He really is.
Seeing him that close as we were, Robbie, I'm like, oh my god, he's
Hate-
like a freak.
hated
But
that
yeah,
Ray
not
lost
saying,
in 2
not saying
seconds.
he's like not worth your piss break, but but no, I mean, I don't know. Part of me thinks like let this be done, and I part of me thinks Braun should go back to being a heel, being like a dominant monster heel. I don't know. I don't have as much to say on this one. I'm just saying Braun's going to take it, and that's going to be it.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Braun on this one. I'm bummed that Lashley beat Ray in his return in 3 minutes. I'm sitting there going, Chan, welcome back. Well, I'm pumped to see Ray, this and that. We thought we were going to see him maybe back in the U.S. title picture, something like that. Bobby Lashley comes out. It's an open challenge. Oh, Ricochet versus Ray. That would be awesome.
Nope.
AJ Styles versus Ray. That would be awesome.
Nope.
Okay, Bobby Lashley. Okay. Bobby beats him in 2 seconds after being put through the Titantron the week before. I understand, Ray's helping put these guys. I mean, not like Lashley's a new guy or anything like that, but super bummed to see that. But anyway, I'm going to go Braun Strowman. You're going to have that big, crazy backstage, something rigged spot. Hopefully it's something fun. So I'll go Braun Strowman, and hopefully they make him exciting because everything they were doing with him was brilliant at one time. My personal favorite was the cello or the upright bass, which was great with Elias. That was great. Nunez, what do you got on this one?
Like the Queen said, WWE's ruined Braun Strowman. They didn't pull the trigger with him winning the
Ding, ding,
Universal
ding.
title. They didn't capitalize when he was at his hottest, and he's kind of just take last year for instance. They had him ruin the tag team division single-handedly and win the tag team titles with an 8-year-old kid.
I still love it.
And I
still hate it.
I don't understand why they didn't pull the trigger with him, and now he's kind of just like Forrest Gump says, he's kind of just a leaf like blowing in the breeze. It's just they haven't really done anything with him. Same thing with Lashley. Lashley's he's not really interesting. This match, I'm just gonna go with Braun just because I don't even have a horse in the race, to be honest.
It's funny how all of us, it's a last man standing match, and all of us are so disinterested in both characters. Braun being a favorite for a long time. Isn't that crazy? Bill, what do you got?
This is basically the Big Show versus the Big Show to me. It's like
Great show.
Two big dudes who WWE have creatively painted into a corner to mean nothing.
Rings breaking, by the way.
What is? It's just like, okay, if Bobby Lashley wins, what do you do with him?
Yeah,
if Braun
exactly.
Strowman wins, what do you do with him?
Yeah.
Who the fuck knows? Because Bobby Lashley doesn't deserve to be in the title picture. I think to be fair, him and Braun have had some interesting stuff in the ring when they actually do stuff in the ring, like the roll through and the leapfrog and all that shit. Okay, that's interesting. But like these two, it's just going to be a bunch of plunder and fodder, and I don't care. It's going to be another big dumb stunt spot. But the thing with that is, it's just like, where did it lead? All the Braun Strowman stuff. We saw him, with the grappling hook and the killing people and ripping stuff, here and there. It led nowhere. He didn't win a title. And every time they put him in the title, they pulled him out because of politics or injury or whatever. So where did they go? And if you're not going to put either one of these big monster guys, much like Big Show, if you weren't putting him in the title picture, if you weren't putting him in a main event feud, what the fuck did it matter? Both these guys have flip-flopped heel and face, and
that's true.
No one cares anymore. People will pop. Like, here's the thing with WWE. Everyone pops for the music. That's just the thing. You hear the roar, people pop. But after that, people aren't going bananas for him. People don't care about it. Like, Bobby Lashley had his best heat with Lio Rush. And Leo's a douche. He sent him home. Like, that's what happened. So these are two guys who creatively can go nowhere, fighting each other in a match that no one cares about. So it doesn't really matter who wins. Braun Strowman's probably going to get the win. He's not going to go for the title, and he's basically just there. Basically, if both these guys left WWE right now, it would mean nothing. Nothing would change. Like if Seth Rollins left WWE right now, that would mean something. But if Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman left, it would mean absolutely nothing to WWE.
Wow. I've never seen a match where the winner and loser would be in the same exact spot after the match. Like, have you ever heard? I've never heard of that.
That's a very good point.
That is unreal. It's just amazing how bad booking could affect just a show, a pay-per-view, a wrestler in general. It's just amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, and
that's a lot of guys in WWE. It's like Dean Ambrose.
It's everybody.
Every time he won or lost, he didn't move. Dolph Ziggler, he wins or loses. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
He's just there.
He's kind of just there.
It's crazy. And 2 weeks ago, Raw was such a fantastic show, and we were all in. A lot of theories that Heyman was involved, this and that. So I was really excited for Raw in Newark this past Monday when we were there, and it was a show with wrestlers.
It happened.
It was great to be there. We had a good time, but as far as just like the matches and being the send-home show for Extreme Rules, meh. That's all I got. Are we going?
You could give me Luchasaurus and Joey Janela in this match, and I would be 10 times more excited to see.
Preach on it.
Because it's something different. It would mean something to either one of these guys. Like with this, it's just like, who gives a fuck?
Shouldn't even be on the card. Goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, put the women's tag team title on instead.
Thank you.
It's like something.
No, because then they'll have Braun Strowman win that, and then who knows where that goes.
Oh, boy. Yeah, we were really down on this match, and I'll tell you what, guys. We got to keep it moving. We got to get to the main event, but Braun Strowman all around real quick?
Sure, why not?
Sure, yeah.
Who cares?
Nah. All right, guys, let's get excited. Let's talk about one of our favorites for a long time. Kofi Kingston's going up against Samoa Joe. I'll keep it short and sweet on this one. Kofi has this run. I like the guys that they're putting him up against, making this title run count, having some great matches along the way, too. Him against Samoa Joe is going to be a great one. A lot of news coming out that Kofi may be hurt. I don't know if you guys heard this stuff.
No, I haven't heard it.
Had that great promo with Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe, who always kills it on the like he can make a promo out of anything. You know how we're talking how we don't care about.
He's one of the best things going.
How we don't care.
Not saying much, but
but like we're not as invested in Braun versus Bobby Lashley. This Samoa Joe picks up the mic and we're instantly in.
Yeah.
It's good. So good stuff. I'm concerned about Kofi being hurt. So barring a major injury or some sort of last minute thing, I don't see anything really with the New Day imploding just yet, although we all see that coming down the line, I think. I just got to keep it short and sweet. I got to go Kofi Kingston. Samoa Joe, as far as being in WWE, not counting NXT as much, is a guy who gets to the big fight, gets to the big match, but hasn't won that big title match. There was a time where I actually picked him to beat Brock Lesnar, believe it or not, back was that Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view.
And I wouldn't
For some
blame
reason,
you.
That was the worst that was the pay-per-view name you should not be mentioning ever again.
Well, that too, but
ironically, it was a very good pay-per-view.
yeah, but I liked Samoa Joe a lot. I know Queen does as well. But I just got to go Kofi to continue this run. Maybe we'll shake things up at SummerSlam. If Kofi is hurt, though, maybe a different story. And I wouldn't be sad to see Samoa Joe holding that WWE title. I'm not going to lie. Let's throw it to Nunez. What do you got?
Like you said, it all depends on how serious the Kofi injury is. I think, like I've been saying with a lot of the title matches before, that a lot of the title holders will retain and then probably lose at SummerSlam. I could see Samoa Joe chasing one more month until SummerSlam and then finally getting his big win and finally getting his big moment.
Being what, the WWE title?
Being the WWE champion, yeah.
Love it. Really, really good.
I do love Kofi. I love Kofi as champion. They booked him pretty well, but I think it's Samoa Joe's time. That whole feud with AJ Styles, he was so close, and he just never got to it. So I think he deserves it.
Interesting. Vac.
Look, I mean, this run by Kofi has been great. It's very well deserved. Mania was the feel-good moment. And he's had great matches with Kevin Owens and Ziggler and, of course, Daniel Bryan when he won the belt. And, I mean, I just don't see his run ending in Extreme Rules. Maybe it's, I mean, we keep saying SummerSlam, the Mania to SummerSlam, the run. But it could be something where it's a DQ finish. It could be something where maybe, it's a roll-up finish. And then Samoa Joe attacks him afterwards. Or, I mean, sadly, it could be a Brock cash-in, which, of course, they've
been teasing. Good call.
Which they've cashed in for
Bonus
a long
point
time.
for
And
Mike.
of course, Brock is going to be like, it's like, he'll come in and take the belt because he can. And then Kofi's going to have to climb the mountain again to try to get his shot against Brock to get his title back, which I don't know if it's going to happen. But I see Kofi winning, whether it's by DQ or by, scraping out, under another close win. But I won't hate it if Samoa Joe wins it. This is a guy who's been wrestling for 20 years. He's dominated everywhere he's been. Ring of Honor, Impact.
Talk about that microphone work, too.
Microphone work. A guy who's 280 pounds. Obviously, he doesn't have a good body for a pro wrestler.
Moves like a cruiserweight, though.
But he moves like a cruiserweight. He's a guy who legitimately could beat you up as a bouncer around the corner at a bar, and choke your ass out, as he himself will say.
Let's face it, we want Samoa Joe. It's bad.
And there's Rob. But no. Listen, I'm not going to hate if Samoa Joe wins. I hope it's another good match. I mean, it's another this is Kofi's magical run because I don't know if he's going to ever get the belt back again if he loses it. But I'm going to say Kofi gets the win here.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet. Although I think I'm going to change my answer a little bit. Great point. Again, just reading thing that Kofi's hurt. Maybe a quick match with Samoa Joe if, again, the big asterisk here, if Kofi is hurt.
Yeah, it depends on how hurt he is.
Let me know if I'm not the only one that heard this. Then Brock does do that cash-in to get the quick, title change. So that would be very interesting. Queen, what do you got on this one?
Well, here's what I think here. Kofi has had, we got all the feel-good moments with Kofi. The chase, the build, the beautiful win at Mania, this awesome run on a total hot streak. And it's coming to an end, boys. I'm telling you. It's coming to an end. Samoa Joe is going to take this title from Kofi Kingston at Extreme Rules. They're going to... Listen, I know Brock is a thing, and I know it's happening at some point. I just don't think it's happening right now. I think when Heyman takes more control as of next week, and so does Bischoff, I think there's going to be some real hype for SummerSlam, and that's the time to bring out Brock Lesnar. That's their thing, and I think it might be teased, but it's been teased since Money in the Bank, so that doesn't really impress me much, to quote Shania Twain. But
there you go.
Nice.
I'm thinking that the real reason I think this, though, is because he dropped that title to Ricochet. They've given Samoa Joe the close but no cigar thing for a very long time.
Yeah.
Yes.
If they're going to pull the trigger with Samoa Joe, it needs to be right now.
Makes sense.
And if it's not, then I don't think it ever will be. And that is a travesty. We as WWE fans,
really
we
a shame.
as Samoa Joe fans deserve to see him with that title belt before it's over. And this is a great surprise time to have a title change hands and for Kofi to just be like totally blindsided, like off that hot streak. Now what do I do? And now I got to climb the mountain. Not only do I have to get my title back from Samoa Joe, but now I got to watch my ass for Brock Lesnar to come back, because what if I win and he cashes it on me at SummerSlam, right? So he's got a lot to play with here, and I think Kofi is great in the chase just as much as he is as champion. So for me, that's a more interesting story, which is why I'm going with that.
I love it. That hypes me for the pay-per-view stuff
Yeah,
like
that
that.
actually- yeah, that makes it
Really
a little
well
more
said.
exciting.
I like that, Queen. Bill, what do you got?
Man, it's hard for me just the way they've built Samoa Joe. Just it's been the I'm a badass, I'm a badass, I'm a badass. I'm kicking ass. Oh, slipped on the banana peel and I lose the match. You know, it's just like pie in the face. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Here's Rey Mysterio pinning me in 5 seconds. Samoa Joe is this the type, like kind of like this whole Cesaro thing. It's like just because you give the guy one match of kicking somebody's ass doesn't make him a badass. Like, we know Samoa Joe's a badass, but you not long ago he lost to Rey Mysterio in 5 seconds at WrestleMania, and now all of a sudden he's going to dominate Kofi Kingston. That doesn't compute. But and so that's why I think I wouldn't be shocked to see Brock Lesnar come out tonight and take the title after a war between Kofi and Samoa Joe. This match, no matter what, is going to be great. And I could see Brock cashing in. Now, I had some thoughts like, well, Heyman is going to be doing Raw. Wouldn't he want to be – is he really going to go to Smackdown as well? You know, he's going to be doing 2 shows a week. But regardless, I guess they could figure that out in a wash. But I just think Kofi's going to win this one. I think Samoa Joe is this guy there just like, you're always in our back pocket to be a heel. And that's it. I think so. I think Kofi wins, and it's a shame. He should win. He should take the title. I'll be stoked if he wins but I just see it being the same old broken record they're going to do, because WWE likes broken record booking. Samoa Joe's going to kick his ass, and then Kofi wins, pulls it out in the end.
Yeah, I see Kofi winning. You know, Queen gets me excited talking about Joe winning. I'm hoping for a great match in this one.
Yeah, exactly. I also, too, to add, if Brock Lesnar ends up cashing in on Kofi, I don't see Kofi ever holding the belt, like, for a while. I don't see them putting Kofi over Brock. I really don't. And that's a shame, too, but I don't see that happening at all. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Exactly. This is interesting stuff, and it's also interesting that Queen said, you know, if Joe doesn't get it now, you know, she doesn't see him getting it. That's very, I get it.
Like Bill said, with the whole broken record, like Joe went through it with AJ Styles last year, and then if he goes through it again this time, it's like, you know, where do you go from here?
Kofi Kingston, he just lost to Ricochet, who's half his size, and now he's going after Kofi Kingston. What makes me, logically, if he can't beat Ricochet, how can he beat Kofi Kingston?
Yeah, that's true.
We'll see on Sunday.
Since he was in UPW in California, I mean, like, I love this guy and I want him to win, but the logic isn't there. Although it does logic even better, I guess.
This is so interesting because, like, some of these matches I'm getting hyped for, and then we talk about some of these other matches. I'm like, oh yeah, it's kind of bummed out, you know.
Extreme Rules is my number 4 show I'm looking forward to this weekend, so I'm not exactly like emotionally like going to be gutted at any of these results.
Black Bee. Just saying.
G1, AEW,
GCW. We could just keep going on.
Yeah. Jerry Lawler just signed to GCW this weekend. What?
Wow. Lots. Oh, man. There's so much going on. All I know is this. I'm going to be hanging out with Vac, watching wrestling, and eating Pizza Hut. That's what I'm talking about.
There you go.
Yes.
Cheap plug. There you go. Guys, let's talk about our main event here. Of course, we're talking about...
Do we have to?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, my man.
Might as well. We've come this far. There's no point in turning back. Of course, we're talking about the
Rhodes Brothers versus the Young Bucks. What a banger this is going to be.
Oh, wrong show.
Wrong show. Yeah, that's the Bill Bodkin podcast coming up next.
Record scratch, wrong show.
Yeah. basically, we have Bill's personal favorite, Bacon Corbin, of course, Baron Corbin, and Lacey Evans versus Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins. Use any sort of hashtag celebrity couple you would like. You know, we said earlier, as soon as we heard they were in a relationship, yes, they're going to use this as a storyline. They can't wait. Again, I have mixed feelings about that. I don't see Becky and Seth losing the belts in this one. Obviously, we know the stipulation involved with this. I really don't. I'm going to throw this to Bill first because I know he just loves. I know he loves Baron Corbin.
No, because guess what? Everyone's going to leave this pay-per-view really fucking sad because Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans are walking out with the belts. Because you cannot have these three goofballs lose 4 fucking matches in a row on pay-per-views. You just can't have it. Then what's the point? Fire them. Just let them go at this point. Which, hey, for me, good. Fire them. They both are fucking shit in the ring. Like, I guess I just applied for WWE. If they listen to this podcast, I'm not getting hired. But fuck it. You weren't hiring me anyway. They're terrible. But they're going to win. Because Vince McMahon is obsessed with both of these people. And from a logical story point, you planted the seed they were going to lose the moment Seth Rollins said, yeah, we're going to do it. Oh, we don't, both the titles are on the line. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I just found out you're going to lose. Because if they win, what's the point? If Seth and Becky win, what's the point? Okay, then Lacey Evans and Baron Corbin mean nothing. Okay, and who are they going to fight? That's your chase for SummerSlam. That's your big chase. Becky in the chase to avenge her loss to the Plank, and Seth to avenge his loss to the bartender from the Bonefish Grill. Like, what the fuck is Baron? And so it's just like they have to lose, and they're gonna lose, and they've already built the fact that they're like this bickering couple, and they like, he's not impulsive. Like, I don't know what they're doing with these two. They've already teased the dissension so many times. They're gonna lose. It's gonna suck, but they're building the chase for SummerSlam. I can't believe Baron Corbin's gonna be in a main event match in SummerSlam. But would it also stun me if Seth Rollins won at SummerSlam and then Brock Lesnar cashes in and he's got the belt again? No, it wouldn't. So I think it's going to be because they want to do something different. It's going to be Lacey Evans and Baron Corbin taking it. And then I remember why Extreme Rules is number 4 on my list of shows I give a shit about this weekend.
Wow, man. My jaws drop. I mean, anything can happen for sure, and it totally makes sense. Like I said,
I could also see Becky and Seth winning, but what was the point of all of this?
True. No, it's...
Well, but that's the thing. According to Bully Ray on Busted Open, Baron Corbin is the best heel in WWE right now. I mean, it's true. I mean, people boo him. They don't like him, but okay. I also changed the channel when he's on. So, but, they have to give those two something to do. They haven't built up anyone to be the next person up. There's no one on Raw to challenge Becky, unless they flop someone over to do Hot Shot Charlotte back in there. There's no one to challenge Seth. So this is the different thing to do.
Interesting. And I'll say this, you think everything that Bill's saying right now is very intense, very jaw-dropping, very, surprising. I think a lot of us think Becky and Seth are going to win. I could totally see it. But, for Bill's analysis of Baron Corbin, that was fairly tame, I would say. So for this...
Well, you want the not tame part. He's a fucking dumpster fire.
There it is.
And I wish Baron... I actually thought of the other day, I'm like, how could Baron Corbin be interesting? He's a bad guy. Why does he want people... Why does he hate everybody? Besides saying, oh, you fat knuckle dragging mouth breathers who live in your mom's basement, you suck. Okay, that's not a good motivation. If he actually came out and cut this promo saying, I want to win the WWE title to make everyone miserable because you people made me miserable. You shamed me for my hair. You shamed me for my body. You said I couldn't wrestle. You made me miserable. But the more I saw you hated me, the more I made you miserable, and that gave me joy. And nothing would give me more joy than by taking the title and be the number 1 guy on your show, and it would drive you crazy and you would hate it, and that would make me feel complete. Wow. give a shit about Baron Corbin. I mean, he still can't wrestle.
That's a great promo.
He's got shitty tattoos, but it's a motivation. Baron Corbin has no motivation to be a dick outside of the fact he was born. So it's like, give me a reason to care why you're a heel.
Oh, man. Interesting promo, though.
That's the WWE's problem. What is Seth Rollins? Nothing. What is Becky Lynch? She's a fighter. She's a person who's overcame stuff. We gravitate towards her because she means something. We can relate to her. AJ's, like, there's certain guys will never be that you could never, like, AJ Styles is a great wrestler, so you're gonna be like, okay, I just like AJ Styles, you know what I mean? But most of these guys, like, why should I care if you win? Why should I care if Braun Strowman wins? Why should I even root for Braun Strowman? Why should I root against Bobby Lashley? You've given me superficial reasons for all this shit. Give me like a kernel to grab onto, and I will be there for you. But you haven't, so I don't care. Like, Lacey Evans is a sassy Southern Belle. Fucking cares. Like, I don't care. But why do you want to win this belt? You haven't given me a reason besides you want to win it. Okay, cool. I want a lot of money. Why? Because I want it. It's dumb. So that's this. I wish they gave me a reason to care. And that, my friends, is end rant. That's my TED Talk. So.
You know it was going to be good when we brought up Baron Corbin. Mike, what do you got on this one?
Well, I mean, I might go a little inner Rumpelstiltskin on here and bet my newborn daughter that Rollins and Lynch are going to go and win this. No, I take that back, honey. I love you. I should have recognized my daughter's name. All Queen. Thank you so much. Anyway, no,
yeah, please
no, I'm not doing it. I'm just busted balls. Megan, if you're listening, honey, forget what I said. No, I mean, I there's no way in hell I see Corbin and Lacey Evans winning this match. I mean, look, I don't like that they're, milking the whole Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch real-life relationship. I don't like that they're doing that. Agreed. They're cool enough on their own. They're kicking ass enough on their own. They don't need to be together, okay? Yeah, I mean, they're two of the biggest stars in the company, regardless of gender. And so they need better quality opponents for SummerSlam, okay? And honestly, I want heel Sasha Banks back. I want her to come back, and she's such a great heel in NXT. I know some people are kind of over her or whatever, but I think her and her heel Sasha versus face Becky would be so money. The best female feud in the company that doesn't involve Charlotte Flair, doesn't need Charlotte Flair. As for Rollins, I can see him, if Roman does get done with the whole Shane and Drew thing, like I think he should be, I could see Roman versus Rollins face versus face at SummerSlam. You can hype the fact that Roman Reigns, he just won the ESPY award. He's got a lot of promotion, everything like that. It could be straight up two friends. It can kind of also be a way to stick it to AEW and Moxley, saying, "Oh, guess what? You're the third Bastard Shield member. Well, guess what? The other two Shield members are going to headline one of our biggest shows." And Roman and Rollins would be a great match, and you're going to get a great quality match. Obviously, people are going to root for Rollins more because they like him more. But could it, we'll get to that as it goes on, but could it be the trigger to finally get Roman Reigns to go heel? I don't know. But if you're talking about somebody on Raw who could legit challenge for Seth Rollins for that belt, I say Roman Reigns. It could be face versus face, and it could result in a heel turn at the end. But I'm going with that. But the bottom line is for Extreme Rules match, which I think this match is a total throwaway, Rollins and Lynch, they're winning it.
Boom. Nunez.
Do you guys realize that this stipulation has happened before?
I know you have a date for me.
So, SummerSlam 2008, opening match. It was Kofi Kingston and Mickie James. Kofi Kingston was the Intercontinental Champion at the time, and Mickie James was the Women's Champion.
Okay.
They faced Santina Marella and Beth Phoenix, and Santina Marella and Beth Phoenix won, and they won both titles. Has anybody ever talked about that match since?
I forgot it happened.
So the fact that they used a match stipulation that nobody's talked about, I don't think they brought it up in the lead-up of this match, correct? Don't think so.
No, not at all.
Santino has never really referenced.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, either way, I just find it amazing that they use a match stipulation that they've used in the past that they don't reference at all. for two of the biggest stars in the company, especially Becky Lynch, who's just coming off main eventing WrestleMania.
True.
And this relationship between her and Rollins, once I found out that they were going to make it an on-screen thing, I was like, they're going to devalue both of them. They're not going to be individuals anymore. They're just going to be a unit. And especially Becky.
They give them are fucking garbage.
Oh God, it's just especially Becky, who's not to say that nobody's worked hard in the company. Obviously they have, but for Becky to be the winner of the first ever female WrestleMania main event, that was only 3 months ago. Look where she is now.
Yeah.
She's wrestling Becky. I mean, she's wrestling Lacey Evans and Baron Corbin at Extreme Rules. I don't know why I could see why they made it an on-screen presence, their relationship. It almost like devalues all the hard work that it took for her to get to that spot, because Seth Rollins has been in that spot before. Becky Lynch has not. So I just feel like with them putting them together on screen, it just kind of devalues both of them.
Interesting. You think Seth and Becky, though, taking it?
I think they do. But to Bill's point, where do you go with Lacey Evans and Baron Corbin from here? Because if they don't win at Extreme
Great
Rules,
point.
I just don't know where you go. Like, this would be the 5th pay-per-view in a row they'd be wrestling each other individually?
That's
if
crazy.
If they go with that at SummerSlam, and it's like, why bother doing that? You got to bring somebody new in the fold. But where do Lacey Evans and Baron Corbin go from here? I don't know.
It's been said Vince McMahon is super high on, and they were higher on her in NXT, and there's a reason she didn't wrestle as much on NXT TV. It was they were hiding her from all like the super talented people who were on there, and it was like they think she's going to be. You have to build that next star, in their opinion.
Yeah.
They look at her as a next star, and if she doesn't win, you didn't create that next star, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say this. Like, I liked Lacey Evans in NXT. We've had this discussion a few times. Former Marine, Supermom,
When we
this
saw
and
her
that.
on Monday. When
Yeah,
we were meeting the
yeah, go ahead,
wrestlers,
Nunez.
She came out full character mode. She had the
valet.
The valet, like, they opened the door for her. Like, she held her hand
In
out.
full character.
And she looked at us with disgust, and it was. I was loving it at that point.
Yeah. When she had the valet
she was just
take her
full-on
hand.
character. It was so good.
It was great, but I liked her in NXT. Like we said, former Marine, obviously a supermom, this and that. You would think face, a million times. And she was a face at one point, but then they turned her heel. So I get it. So I don't hate on Lacey Evans that much, but I don't see her getting, she's getting all these title shots, I think, super early. I think it's just way too early.
I just feel like she's not seasoned enough. It was kind of like with Dana Brooke, that they brought her up way too early, and she's not. She's not. They're not developed enough yet. Like, they should have brought up other women's wrestlers as opposed to them. I don't know why they brought them up that early.
Rhea Ripley, man. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Just chiming in.
Oh man, we talk about this stuff all day. Queen, let's throw it over to you.
Hey, did you guys know that Seth and Becky are dating? Were you aware of that?
No, you could have fooled me.
Oh my God. Well, I'm here to break it to you. Breaking news right now. They're together. And if y'all think that they're losing at this pay-per-view, we got to have a conversation because, look, Lacey Evans, way too soon to put her in any title picture.
Yeah.
They want her to be someone she's not. She doesn't have the ability. And she has, I would say, okay character work. She's not that great on the mic, but she has the persona that she wants to portray down very well. However, to Bill's point, she has no motivation. I have no idea what she even wants to do here. Okay, she thinks people are nasty. Very nice. Put your handkerchief somewhere else. I have no time for you. Baron Corbin needs to go back to TGI Fridays and have a great time with himself and take that vest off. I can't stand it. He's like the worst to me because the way that they ruined his character. He had a lot of potential in NXT to come up here and do something cool. Not that he was my favorite in NXT by any means, but he had the potential to be something cool, and they ruined it. And then he was Constable Corbin, and he's still wearing that fucking vest, and I don't understand, and I'm over it, and I'm over them. Where do they go from here? Lacey can go tag team with Charlotte for a little while, since I'm not sure they're going to put her in a title picture anytime soon. I hope so, for Charlotte's sake, but for Lacey Evans, I don't give a shit where she goes as long as it's off my screen. Same with Baron Corbin. And, I mean, there's a lot of other potential of what they could do, but trust me, I would not be surprised if they pulled some fuckery and we had it. But I really do think that Seth and Becky are going to win. And, wouldn't it be funny? I don't know if it's going to happen, but wouldn't it be funny if they win and they're all celebrating and shit, and Brock Lesnar comes out and beats the living hell out of Seth Rollins, and the man's man has no title anymore? What interesting interplay they could happen with their characters.
Yeah.
They need to start giving them some good script, because those two are so awkward that they can't even with that. So they need to fix that first. But just a thought.
Well,
Yeah,
now you.
Seth Rollins should also stay off of Twitter.
He should just be quiet. He needs to be quiet.
He has apologized, but it shouldn't have been said to begin with.
Yeah, and honestly, now, like, after what you said, Queen, you got me, got my mouth watering a little bit, because now I'm imagining a shot of Becky getting face-to-face with Brock and staring him down.
I like that.
Her with that fiery glaze, and have Brock just, have Brock just, like, have that, little just cocky-ass laugh in his face from this, everything like that, laughing at her.
I like that.
I took your boyfriend's belt. She could slap him, but of course he's not going to. He just, like, do that thing where he just, like, goes right back in her face and stares her down, and looks like he could pick her up for an F5, but then Heyman, no, don't, and then, But yeah, I mean, imagine how much. I mean, can Becky be any cooler? That might be the way to get even cooler. So,
Yeah.
Unless you to go for that, just go into, like, let me just drop a tad of acid and then let me go wild here for a second. Brock goes to cash in. She sees Brock is about to beat him. She slides into the ring, takes a chair, and wallops Brock Lesnar with it. Disqualification. And now, hey, you know what? We're gonna, how unfair that is. What Paul Heyman says, it's unfair that, she cost us the match, and Seth's all pissed off. He's like, I could have won. I didn't need your help, type of deal.
Oh, that could be interesting.
They give Brock the rematch. I mean, he has a rematch clause anyway, but, like, Brock gets it at SummerSlam. He gets that match because, like, that would make Becky super cool if she walloped Brock with a chair and stood face to face, and it wasn't going to let him. Like, say if his Brock's doing like 4 or 5 or 6 F5s just to prove a point, you know what I mean? Because, like, Brock does.
Uh-huh.
That'd be cool. Not gonna happen, but.
Do you guys see a scenario where, in a stipulation match, Brock drops the Money in the Bank, or do you see Brock being the one to cash in?
Oh, I think he'll cash.
I'll say cash.
The only time Brock is ever gonna lose if it's in a main event at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. All right, guys. Well, I think that's a good note to end it on. I think we covered everything and then some. A lot of exciting things for this pay-per-view. A lot of points we're kind of meh on, so maybe that's something they could work on going into SummerSlam. A lot of, tell us how you really feel, everybody, on this one.
Why are you mad?
It got real. It got real for sure. But, guys, thank you so much for a few minutes. Real quick before we got to get out of here, we got to do our shameless promo. Bill, tell us a little bit about the popbreak.com, where everyone can follow you on Twitter, all that good stuff.
All right, celebrating our 10-year anniversary this year. Go check out thepopbreak.com. We have stuff every day. Of course, Rob and Mike are on there. We've got great wrestling stuff. We're covering AEW, WWE. I'm sure we'll be covering Evolve this weekend. New Japan as well. Have crazy concerts we're covering. We just covered Blink-182 and Lil Wayne. We just covered a couple weekends worth of stuff with Fish and Bruce Springsteen jumping on the Stone Pony stage, and we have, like, movies, music, TV, also comic books, all sorts of good stuff. Follow me just where I talk about wrestling on Twitter at Bodkin Writes. Most importantly, go to thepopbreak.com every day. Check out at popbreak.com, all spelled out on Twitter /popbreak.com, all spelled out on Facebook, and at the Pop Break on Instagram.
Love it, man. And of course, I got that Evolve show. I'm so excited to cover that one, man. It's going to be great. Some good friends on that one, some familiar faces, some great up-and-coming indie stars. It's going to be good. Yes, there is a lot of good wrestling this weekend. And speaking about good wrestling, good shows, good entertainment, got to talk about the Queen's Court. Queen, tell us where we can follow you.
Well, firstly, I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me back. I had a blast with all you guys.
Anytime.
Y'all can find me on Twitter at the Queen of Any. I am on Queen's Court every single Wednesday at Brainbuster Radio. Female Perspective, honey, it's a lot of fun. Come check it out. I'm also the queen of DYWTSB, the Did You Write This Stuff Bro podcast, every single Friday for your listening pleasure. I hope y'all check me out.
Awesome, guys. And Nunez, Mike, as always, thank you for joining us.
No problem.
Good time.
Anytime.
Guys, we got to start talking
So
about.
I'll be back.
Oh yeah, great to have the Vac back as always. He's back, one of the founders, of course, of the Bob Culture Podcast, coined the term. And speaking of the Bob Culture Podcast, which we're all here talking about, we are going to have our 100th episode. We have some plans in order.
Clap that up.
It's not going to be all about me, and my show. It's going to be about all you guys, being a part of this. I love talking to you guys. We get a lot of good insight. We get a lot of good feedback. We've had a lot of great interviews, a lot of talented musicians, and I think there's going to be some sort of charitable aspect, a little bit of a live stream, some performances. It's going to be great. So stay tuned for that 100th episode of the Bob Culture Podcast. So as always, thank you guys for being a part of this, and we'll see you guys next time. We are out here. Enjoy Extreme Rules and all the wrestling this weekend. We are out. See you guys. Peace.
Peace.